Yeah, so I mean, do we want to open up addressing the complaints from the cult of Shizuka?
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. I was gonna say, like, should we just start this episode by atoning for our sins of the first video?
The cult of Shizuka is they're at my house. They've kidnapped my girlfriend. They've killed my pets.
Not only that, but the cult of Mimimi has now emerged.
Yeah.
Oh, the one guy that likes Mimimi. Well, no, a lot of people do.
No, actually,
that one
surprisingly,
specific
he's the Pope.
Yeah, he's the Pope, but there's the followers we also have to deal with, because there was... So, in case, for reference, the first part video went up earlier today when we were recording this. It's probably one of my fastest comment-growing videos.
That's fucking chaos squared difference, my guy.
It's like, because it's an opinion piece, so everyone's got to get their opinion in. And half the comments are about me.
Practically none of these girls are like bad characters, right? And like I have heard it time and time again, like, oh, Red hasn't seen enough narcissist characters. Like I know that out of all narcissist characters, she's the best one. And Rios, where were you on that again?
You know, honestly, I don't remember. I mean, I'm sure I gave some counter arguments, whatever, in Mimi's favor. You know, that's why
you
she is
also had
at
her
B.
like C or D though.
Oh yeah, initially, yeah. I mean, like in my original one from like July last year, I did have her in like D between Suu and Yaku, but you know,
it's like the lowest I've ever seen Rios put anyone.
No, the lowest hasn't come yet. But yeah, anyway.
Oh God.
Let's not get into that one just yet. Yeah. That will be my Red and Mimi moment. But
I'm really excited for Rios' crash out.
All right. So besides that, and now that we've had a week to think about it and stew over, do we want to make any adjustments to anybody?
I'm glad you asked. So Shizuka, you know, the main thing was, why isn't she SSS, right? So she's S for me. She's S for Moonlight, right? I assume.
Yeah.
Okay, so Rios.
Yeah,
where are we at with
I
you?
think I was the one dissenting opinion. I mean, because we weren't tier listing them primarily as their roles as characters, and I mean, definitely I can see. I mean, there's a reason people make jokes about Shizuka being like Nakamura's favorite and whatnot, because I mean, she gets all those dramatic sort of character development, and really a lot of my minus points are more like a
Personal
dating
taste
situation.
But I don't think that we should totally ignore that. I really do think we should try to combine those elements, because otherwise then, like, you know, Nano for me, if we were going purely off of character development, Nano would be S tier.
Yeah. And the only other reason why I'm okay with Shizuka staying in S is because I feel like the newer characters are going to be so much more scattered that I think what's going to happen is if we put Shizuka in SSS, there's going to be no one in S. We're all just going to falter into a bunch of A's and B's and whatnot, and the S actual category is going to be empty because, like, you're going to have these two SSSs. I don't think of the remaining girlfriends SSS quality characters to all three of us. So
I know I can't speak for you. The Ahko is an interesting conversation that we'll get to in just a second.
Of course, we're starting with her, but I don't know. We can always edit down the line, but I'm
down to keep her at S. I just wanted to give Rios a chance to defend himself.
Yeah, the fact that Rios does have this opinion means it doesn't qualify for our SSS. I don't think we said that in the first video in saying that the SSS has to be an S from all of us, all three of us to qualify.
It must be unanimous. Like,
so you guys all know where to direct your pitchforks and torches. You can find his address in our Discord.
I have a YouTube channel as well that can be brigaded, I guess, you know.
Oh no, I hope you don't brigade Rios' YouTube channel with
that would be terrible.
All right, let's
other
get
shifting
into
around
it,
that we might want to do.
Sorry, Earl, in advance. I'll try to, I'm going to cut down by at least half. I'm going to do my best.
I mean, I would put like Mimimi above like Hahari.
I mean, Mimi hasn't done anything, you know, like a criminal like Hahari. Okay. That's a big plus, you know.
That's a big plus.
That's like
she's not a criminal.
Okay, I can concede this.
I mean, it's kind of like Hahari has a lot of great, you know, character introspective type fodder, but she's also a criminal. She should probably be in jail. Well, Mimi might not have as much
sometimes
depth.
People like the bad girls and the bad boys.
Yeah.
True.
Well then, the only other thing I wanted to say, I wanted to make a deal with Earl, the editor. Because let's be honest, if this goes along, it's on me. It's on me personally. So if I can keep this under 2 hours, can you at some point edit a funny hat onto my little avatar? That's all I want. Thank you.
All right.
I mean, now I'm gonna try to kind of.
No, I want to be
like
edited.
2 hours and 1 minute.
I want to be part of a funny edit.
All right. So
we all get like appropriately dumb hats, like for whatever our worst takes are, you know.
I'm down. So Akko.
We switch it between girls.
Arguably other best girl here, Ahko.
Yeah.
I mean, she is just perfect, you know? I mean, like, so she, at least with me, Rios, and my buddy Andrew, she's an SSS. But, like, I'm not sure if we all have her an S here, but, you know, I mean, like, what's to say that hasn't been said, right? I mean, like, I have always loved the element of her where, like, most of the time characters that are written with her kind of, like, quirk are portrayed as, like, dumb or kind of, like, slow or stupid, but she is just... The way she speaks is slow, but she's actually one of the more emotionally intelligent girls, helping Sue with her stuff, helping... I believe... Didn't she also... Has she helped other girls as well? This is... My memory is fading me, but I'm sure she's like... She always seems to be a good advice giver, you know?
I don't know about advice giver, but she's definitely... Going back to the me support thing is... Because she's had her moments with Uto, she's had her moments with...
Yes.
But yeah, she has a good thing with Sue, she has a good thing with...
Yeah, Karane,
Uto. As we keep saying, Ahko kind of has her own harem within the harem.
Yes.
I always refer to her as, like, emotionally intelligent, right? Like, she seems like such a ditz on the surface. And I think, like, it's easy for a lot of people, like her friends, to assume that she's just dumb, right? Like her shitty friends, let's to clarify, right? The ones that, like, abandon her. Yeah. But, like, the second you spend even, like, just a little bit of time... And people these days are so, like, less, I don't know, willing to kind of be slow and patient with people, so they're just, like, instantly write her off. But if you just, like, give it a second to, like, talk to her, she's, like, amazing. Like, I could talk to her for hours. I'm sure it would take hours. But I love her. Like, I mean, her ability to just be, like, full-fronted, I'm into this cute stuff, her dream to, like, open up a little shop. I mean, she's just, like, a genuinely sweet girl. There's not even a lot of, like, super uber depth to get into other than her, like, self-consciousness with, like, the slow speaking and the facial expression stuff. But, like, it's just so good. Like, she's just perfect.
Yeah, I agree. She's a surprise at how well she is written. Like, you expect the gal to be kind of, like you said, the dits and whatnot, and that's just kind of her shtick, but no, she's got a lot more going on, and it's only when you pay attention that, like, oh, wait, she's one of the more well-written characters, and that came out of nowhere. Especially, like, in her introduction, too. So, yeah, I gotta agree. She's an S for me.
I guess so. Yes, yeah, Ahko she's so adorable, and, like, both in terms of, like, her fashion and character design, but, you know, her personalities we've mentioned. I mean, I definitely really appreciate the touch of having her want to be like basically like a business owner. You know, she wants to make like a boutique sort of cute shop sort of thing. That's very I don't know what, you know, there's just a little bit of extra pizzazz to her character that makes it.
Rios has his personal channel where he does these art streams where he's drawing the girls with the Christmas gifts that we got them with our Christmas stream. And so one of the gift that he got her was actually like a starting a business for dummies book, basically. Yeah. You can't be stupid and run a business. You know what I mean? Like she's not stupid. She is not lacking intelligence. She just talks the way she talks, and I really like that, especially as someone who I've dealt with speed talking issues before. I'm sure you guys noticed that I go like when I talk, and a lot of that comes from the trauma of being a little bit more like Ahko in my past, and I've like tried to kind of.
I do have also a speed talking problem. Like Earl is very well aware of my tongue. I tongue tie myself constantly with how fast I talk.
Oh, yeah, I was going to add on to like my speech issues. My mouth always gets so damn dry, and it just becomes like a real issue. Where, like I gotta like there's ethanol just evaporating on my tongue. But anyway
well, that's why you dunked your chocolate bars in water as a kid.
Oh, like, probably, yeah.
God, that's a Rios lore drop.
Yeah, that's a thing I did. Yeah.
But all that to say, tying that back to Ahko, like, I don't know, it just makes her so likable to, like, imagine, like, because, like, again, it's stated, it's not gone into a lot, but it's stated that one time in like, her intro, and then you can do oodles of headcanoning on, like, all the trauma growing up, all the, like, self-confidence issues she probably had from that growing up. Again, emotionally intelligent character.
I also just
love I'm S. Oh, good.
I was just gonna add just one more thing. I just love the detail that her like constant smile thing is a mental thing and not a physical thing, because when they swap bodies, Akko's body loses the smile, and the smile goes right on whoever she's on.
That is cute.
It's just hilarious.
Her. It's part of her soul.
It's as she says, it's a part of my entire being. But yeah, I will go with S with
S for
Ahko.
Moonlight.
I also had her an S, so yeah.
So unanimous S's, that means they go into SSS tier.
Yeah.
This is why the ultimate date night would be Karane, Ahko, and me.
All right. I mean, I'm not gonna disagree, because I would probably also agree. As long as I can get in on the action.
Okay, Karane, Ahko, me, and Rios. I'm down.
There's the double date.
Let's go. Yeah, except me and Rios are dating, and Karne and Ahko are dating.
They are. Karne's got her side to Hikari. It's Ahko. All right. Uto and her Utos.
To expand upon, but I mean, I've got my my big thing of like panels that I screenshot when I was reading the series first. I'm looking at the Uto intro chapter. I mean, it was a very interesting opening little shot where like we have like the wind blowing her like cloak thing. I mean, she's very much of a like a
he's the aura farmer.
Yeah, this girl is like aura out the wazoo, and that's it. Only she has basically nothing.
Aura until she opens her mouth.
Yes.
So basically solo leveling.
Yeah.
I'll do my Uto spiel. So my thing with Uto is when she was first introduced, I was a little hesitant. I was like, okay, she's a touch on the cringe side. And I was also like blissfully unaware of the how do you pronounce this?
Chunibyo.
Yes, I had never heard that term before. So I guess
I'm always surprised by how much anime lore you don't know. I mean, it's not a bad thing, is it?
No, yeah. Well, it's honestly because I'm really not a weeb. Like I love anime, but I'm not. What I've come to find out is that most weebs watch like everything. Like they watch like quadruple the shows that I watch, whereas I'm very picky. Like if I don't like a show, like 1 or 2 episodes in, I'm like, upper 20s, I got really into like slice of life shit like this.
It's really funny. I can't remember if I mentioned this on our previous stream, but there is this meme that goes around every once in a while, and it shows like your age range and what kind of anime you watch, and it literally is all the kids and teens that watch all the shonen, and then once you hit your 20s, you start doing all the slice of life stuff. It's like, it's so accurate.
But yes, so Uto, when she was first introduced, I was like, again, I didn't know about that trope, so I didn't really know that it was making fun of a specific thing. Obviously, it mentioned it in the text, but I just kind of like blew past that. I was like, I don't know what that is. But anyway, so I'm reading, I'm like, I'm not really feeling her initially. And then we get to the chapter that was like one of the most, I don't know, influential chapters to me throughout the whole series, which is the one where Kiki is like, I find you fascinating. You're the most irregular. I want to learn from you. Uto kind of goes home and she opens up her Ocarina for Dummies book, and she kind of lays down and she's just thinking, and if I remember correctly, she's listening to Kiki sing like on the radio and
I remember she listened like to the radio.
Yeah, and she's just hearing how talented this person is, and it's like, wow, this like super talented person is asking me for advice, and I'm just like a dumb little middle schooler girl who's like cosplaying in her basement, and the self-awareness did so much for me, like the ability for her to just kind of, I don't know, the fact that she knows that it's the same thing with Natty. It's the same reason I love Natty, where like she knows that she's not an actual bard and she's like just being a little dweeb, but it brings her happiness. And like something about just like the idea of like a girl who's just a normal middle school girl, but waking up and saying, I'm gonna dress like this and bring an
I guess I'll go because I am kind of middling on Uto. Yeah, the Chunibyo thing is just kind of always a deterrent for me, but it's definitely better than most other Chunibyo characters that I've come across. Like
exactly how I feel about Mimi, by the way. I heard her.
The one thing that makes Uto better is that she's not fully committed to it like all the time. Like she does have moments of like, I'm gonna drop this thing and be a regular person every once in a while. I just do this for fun. So unlike other Chunibyo characters who are like fully dedicated, like they convince themselves this is real. If you want like a good explanation, or not explanation, but a good example of the Chunibyo stereotype is this. Watch the series Love, Chunibyo, and Other Delusions. It's really good. Example of someone who just refuses to break this delusion of theirs, and when it does happen, it's actually like a good plot character moment. So it's nice that she does live this life, but she can, when she did the gal thing with Ahko, when they were on the floating island, she actually dons like a regular swimsuit, and there was even that flirty daily life chapter where she was just kind of in regular clothes when Rentaro and her were gonna go look at stars. So it's nice that she does it, but she knows when to also take off the charade, basically.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, it's insane how fine that line is between, like, full delusion and, like, oh, well, they know about it. They know what they're doing, and it's actually kind of wholesome now, right? And for me, for some reason, there's that line. And I guess it is just you want to know that your partner or your friend isn't, like I don't know, is in touch with reality, right?
Yeah. You have a foot set in reality, and you're just having fun with the other side.
Exactly, and I love that.
One thing that I also really appreciate is that, I mean, despite the fact that she's like 9 times out of 10 just like yapping, saying pseudo-intellectual gibberish, she does sometimes say some really, like intellectual things. I mean, I always bring up that moment, Uto x Eira x Io x Rin chapter, where like Eira's being all like oh, we're gonna be late to the thing, and what are we gonna do that happens, and he's freaking out and everything, and Uto's like no, just like I don't remember exactly, but it's very like kind of elegant manner. He manages to like sort of talk Eira out of her anxieties, and I was like, damn girl, that's like some real, real shit.
But all that's given, I'm still not like the biggest fan of her, at least in terms of being a girlfriend per se. So I'm somewhere like in the B, C section.
Yeah, I did have her at C. I don't think I would change.
So maybe like high C.
Because of my S, can we bump her to like? Hold on, wait a minute. I thought this was a democracy.
No, we're anarchy around here.
Well, okay, but because of my, if you two like, okay, B and C range, but my, can I have her at like a high-ish B?
Like higher than.
I mean, she's not a criminal, so.
Okay, wait a minute now. Here's the she has to be above me. She has to. Yes.
Okay. But granted, I mean, I mentioned before. I mean, me, and Uto are the basic similar archetypes. All
right, is this where I have to bust out my appreciation speech?
I mean, I'm a big fan of Mai as well, but I'll let you go.
All right, so I think Mai is underappreciated, but I totally get why a lot of people are down on her, because on a surface level, she is very, very annoying, very, like, anti-relationship. Like, half the time it almost feels like she doesn't want to be there. And I will agree with that to an extent, because, like, one of my biggest gripes that I've had in the most recent chapters was the Maya Momoha Bunny Girl chapter. The fact that Mai, like, not even internally, when Momoha said, oh, wouldn't it be sad that you would miss all of us if you had to go back home? Like, she didn't say, no, I wouldn't miss you at all. Or it would have been nice to at least have, like, a thought bubble of her saying, like, yeah, I would miss you all, or I would miss being with Rentaro, or anything like that. But she didn't have any of that, so that was annoying. But every other instance that Mai breaks her, like, we're talking about the moments where these characters break their facade and actually reveal what they are on the inside. And when Mai breaks, I think it's awesome, but I think that's kind of the duality of the character, is that she has this front of, no, I don't want to be here, it's your typical tsundere, which I'm normally not a fan of. But the fact that she breaks so often in certain regards, like, I love all the flirty daily life stuff, because, like, oh wow, here's Rentaro actually having some one-on-one time, and I think Mai is one of the characters that needs this one-on-one time the most. And when she does get it, like at the movie theater or when they were out in that flower patch, like, here she is, she's basically this character who is love obsessed, kind of like Rentaro himself, but she just puts on this front of, like, no, it's for this one person, it's for May, but it's no, it's actually also for Rentaro. I do think it does need to be handled better.
Yeah. You get the vibe that, like, she, for years, just thought that it was only for May. Like she just thought, like, no, and then the second she, like, was given the opportunity to love someone else, it was like, oh, no, I might just be, like, a hornball. I might just be, like, super fucking horny.
Oh, she's so horny.
And, exactly, yeah. And you also she reminds me of someone who maybe, like, was pretty convinced in her early life that she was only into, like, women, and then, like, met the right man and was like, oh, okay, I'm bisexual, which I've known a couple girls like that, so that's also a cute dynamic as well.
So it just makes an interesting character in the dynamic of the harem, and less about her being with Rentaro, which is kind of a interesting take on this, because her interactions with everyone else is more interesting than her interactions with Rentaro. And there's
true.
And then there's also, like, just certain aspects you don't think of. Like, it kind of just dawned on me one time when I was rereading it, and I'm like, oh, wait, Mai is Rentaro's age. Like, she should be a first year in high school, but yet she's a dropout. Like, she is not attending school. She is just working full time. And I don't know, I just find that interesting that she's just, we're calling her the bisexual girl failure, and that's what she is. She's a bisexual girl failure, because she can't do anything right. So she's like this love-obsessed girl failure. But this is only stuff that you realize about this character when you, like, really pay attention. So I understand, like I said, I understand why so many people are down on her, because when you just read through without reading too much into stuff like we do, she is a kind of annoying character with how much all she does is kind of spout, I don't like Rentaro, I don't want to be here kind of stuff. You only start to appreciate her when you really pay attention.
Yeah, I completely agree. Because I was also one of those, like, as recently as when we were filming, like when Rios and I were reviewing, she was one of my legendary 3 F tiers. My legendary 3 F tiers were her, Suu, and who, I'm forgetting who the other one was. Do you remember, Rios?
Wasn't it Mimi?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
And like I've softened so much. Rios is a big part of me softening. He's such a little softy. He's like, well, you shouldn't, in a good way, like, because I'm so ready to be just expel hatred. And Rios is like, well, they're all kind of lovable in their own way, and I'm like, damn it, he's right. Yeah, I mean, same exact thing for me with Mai. Like, when I first saw Mai, I just kind of interpreted her as like, yeah, it's just a second maid. Why do we have to have another maid? Why is she just obsessed with the first maid? And like, that was how I interpreted her character, was like, that was like her whole thing. But yeah, I mean, someone in the Discord, I can't remember who, was kind of like, there was a stream we had actually where I was shitting on her, and someone was like, she's objectively better characterized than the first maid.
She is.
She's got more going on
She
for
has
her, and I was
more
like,
character.
thought about it, and I was like, yeah, I was gonna argue back, and then I was like,
the third maid's gonna have even better characters.
yeah, it's just how the maids, until the final maid is like, this, like, I'm crying in my bed, I'm like, this is beautiful. Genuinely, like, I remember, like, I don't know who it was, but someone in the stream was like, well, she's better than the first maid, and I was about to argue back, and I was like, wait a minute. Fuck, you're right. Like, damn it. And this was like right after, I think, the conversation with her and Mei Mei, where she was like, hey girl, couldn't help but notice you were into some things that I'm into, Yeah. And I like that. Yeah, so like shifting my focus on her from she's just another maid, she's obsessed with, she's like I'm only here for my sister, and shifting it to she's the yaoi girl, basically. Yes. That did a lot for me. I was like, okay, we have our yaoi girl. She just happens to be a maid. That's perfect. So yeah, now she's moved. I mean, she used to be F. Now, I mean, I could comfortably put her in the top of C.
That's what I was thinking. I was thinking top of C.
Yeah.
Because like I said, like, there are some hidden things that I like about her, but I hate that on the surface level she is not enjoyable. So we need to work on that part. So she's a character that needs to be worked on, and I hope it does get something at some point. It is kind of funny with the when the 200 special happened, and we got the unsundere version of Mai, and I'm like,
it's like, oh my god.
It's like, oh my god, she's a character. But then I realized, no, wait, being a tsundere is part of her character. Because even Tuesday kind of enlightened me on that when I said, this is like peak Mai right here, and then Tuesday kind of chimed in and saying something, I can't remember what it said exactly, but it was something along the lines of taking away her tsundere just makes her more generic, and just being love-sicken renter, being just like, oh, Rentaro, I love you. It's like, that's so much more generic, but no, you got to add the tsundere on it to make her more interesting, and so I kind of agree with that.
I mean, we need to get some more information on why she feels she cannot, just openly accept her feelings for his man. Like, why does she feel like she has? Well, I mean, okay, she has explained she wants her love to be, solely for a Mei. So I guess like, we need to get some like development on that front. Some
we need to beat the concept of polyamory into her. Like you'd think she'd understand that, being part of Rentaro's family. But a lot of these girls need to officially come out as bisexual and officially just recognize the fact that they're all marrying each other.
And that would make sense, because during her group intro chapter, it was Kyo as well as Kurumi who basically did like a minor intervention or whatever to help her sort of like allow herself to become part of the
It's like, that was a great moment in her introduction, saying we were in your same spot, like where we were totally against this, but now you need to realize you have this big supportive family. We realize we kind of think of her as a newer girlfriend, like, no, she was 20, we're at 32 now. It's been over 100 chapters and she's still kind of the same. Whereas we said Chio and Kurumi and other characters that we didn't like have gotten better over the last 100 chapters. Mai is now 100, and I want to say, because she came in like 101 or something like that, and we're now at 212, so now we're at over 110 chapters and she's still the same. We've gotten more underneath the surface stuff about her, but nothing on her outer shell has changed, which is, I think, is what annoys people.
Yeah, that's been dramatic development, and just a lot of adding some little bits, sort of make it a little more sparkly, I guess.
I forget who said it in the Discord, but someone kind of brought up an interesting point. It's like, what if we looked at zinging with Rentaro as like the opposite way? It's like, what if it's a curse? Like, it could almost be seen as a curse to Mai. It's like, here she was happy to be just lusting after Mei, and all of a sudden here comes Rentaro. It's like, no, you're in love with me now.
I mean, literally, it is she is going through a bisexual awakening.
She is bisexual
from the other direction that it normally happens, right? Normally, it's you're growing up, you're taught you're gonna love the opposite gender. She grew up instantly being like, nah, I'm definitely lesbian, specifically for this one woman. And then, like, I imagine she's seen a bunch of men in her life and been like, nah. And then Rentaro is like, oh shit, wait, what the fuck? I do like that dynamic.
She's bisexual Panic the character.
Oh, it's so good. See, that makes me like her more. I love. It's crazy how many of these girls, and this is why there's such a diverse opinion pool, because so many of these girls, your opinion on them is entirely dependent on like the lens you're viewing them through.
Yeah.
Like, you can like, I fully admit my thing with Mimi is totally my taste, right? I've seen so many different lenses that make sense to me that just aren't my lens. You know what I mean? So yeah.
Yep. Yeah.
All
I mean,
right.
as for me, I did.
So
have
are we
her
still?
in 8.
So are we
I
still
had her
sitting
in
on
8 here, actually. But yeah, I want to like direct your guys' attention to the Mai Meido Discord channel, because I shared a little panel of.
Oh, I can actually
this
look
was
at it because
kind of
Earl's not
panel-
going to use this video. Oh, I can actually look now.
Yeah, like, this was like the panel that kind of sold me on like Mai, because I mean I've mentioned it before, but I am kind of a lover of devious women, or let's say evil women or whatever. And like that panel of Mai in like the cabbage chapter or whatever, where she's like doing like basically trying to like trick, pulling over on a
Munch.
Yes. I mean, God, look at that face. It's so. I mean, to me, it's just hot. Yeah.
That is attractive for sure. Yeah, she's got a devious side. I'd like to see more of that. I mean, again, that feels to me like the same side we got when she's kind of whispering over to Mei Mei, like, "Hey, Mei Mei, couldn't help it."
Yeah.
So
I mean, yeah.
More of that energy from her would be lovely. More of that over the like, I only like my sister. Goddamn,
It's like less of that,
Speaking of
please.
her
I'm just a
sister.
little bit more other stuff.
Yeah.
Yes.
Speaking of her sister, I do like what she brings out of Mei. I mean, like, I remember during when she fucked up, like, the multiple times she fucks up, and then Mei has to basically put her in place, spank her, and, like, it's like, yeah, that's...
Spanking is crazy.
It always makes poor Iku just, like, beating the cup chair because of that. And I mean, also
wasn't there like a hold on, remind me, wasn't there like a line, because this is why the reread is so important, but wasn't there a line where like she was like she hits you harder because you can handle it, or is there something like, I can't remember, or what am I thinking of? There's like something about how she disciplines her differently, right? Because of the special connection that they have. That sounds.
Oh yeah, it was something. Yeah, it was something like, like, because they in the text they mentioned like we've never seen Mei act that way. Like,
yes,
like that means you have a special connection to her, Mei. Like the way she
Mei is
spanks
so
your
much
ass.
more pissed off at you.
Yeah, like she's actually showing off her own personal like emotional expression, because you are such a terrible maid. Like, isn't that great, Mai?
It's because, and you could read that as it's because she expects more of her, right? Like like she has this like expectation of Mai. Like Mai is like her prodigy.
Which makes Mai even happier that she sees her that way, and then it's not like Mei is whipping out the spanking paddle for any of the other maids.
Yeah, Iku's like, damn it, why won't she spank me like that? She's been holding back on me.
Well, Iku, you have to become a maid of the Hanazono family, and then you'll be subject to the same, stipulations.
You have to date Rentaro to get that.
Yeah.
We need Iku maid, because like when everyone dressed as a maid, Iku wasn't there yet. Have we ever got Iku maid? I don't know.
Yeah, because everyone dressed up as a maid for Mai's introduction.
Oh yes.
I remember. Yeah, Iku was carrying like a giant tray of plates and whatnot because it was so heavy.
Unfortunately for her love of Matsuri as a maid, so she didn't actually fumble and drop the trays all over the place. She didn't get punishment from Mei. Very, very sad all around. And I guess the last thing I'll mention is, like, I mean, her relationship with Momoha is basically like the big sister relationship that she wants. Well, I mean, maybe a little bit different. Momoha's kind of like the
like,
hopeless
I need more
big
of Mai and
sis.
Momoha.
Yes.
Yeah, they are a good.
It's such an interesting pairing.
What a seamless transition to Momoha.
I know. It's right.
Yeah.
Well, all right, moving over to ethics class.
Yeah.
So
bell's ringing.
I'll leave my Momoha thing kind of short because I don't have much to say about her. I like her concept more than I actually like her character. It's because she's this vice-written ethics teacher who with also a banging body. Ever since her introduction, she's just kind of just been there as, yeah, I'm the drunk. She hasn't really had too much. I mean, yeah, she has stand out in like the Lights Festival chapter where she actually uses her ethics thing, and the Bunny Maid chapter where she goes out of her way to support. I don't know if you want to call her friend, her harem mate, whatever you want to call her,
her
fellow wife. And she actually like stands up for her and actually uses that brain of hers. So like those are excellent examples. And if there was more of that, Momoha would probably be a very high character for me. But the problem is that has been drowned out by just how often she's just
horny.
The drunk. Not
Horny
even the
and
horny. Like, horny's barely there. It's only like in the flirty daily life chapters. Everything else is just more drunk.
Fair. Yeah, that's true. My brain is on the recency bias of the starfish touch tank.
Yeah, that
that was crazy.
Okay, yeah, I mean, her character is very interesting, like, because her intro is one of the most unique, I always think of it as one of the most unique ones, simply because it's one of the only intros where I think Rentaro was kind of like, uh-oh, I don't know if I like this one at first, like, he zings with her, and he's, like, kind of like, oh no, she's, like, irredeemable and shitty for, like, a good long while. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
I mean, yes, yeah.
I thought that was fascinating
for
Rentaro to kind
her
of be
whole
like,
introduction
uh-oh.
in general is really interesting because you get presented with this, she's this loser, and that's literally what the chapter is, and that's the whole point of the chapter, is you get introduced to this loser of, she's homeless, she's living in a tent behind the school, she's constantly drinking, she blows all her money on gambling, and then you turn all of that around and be like, no, she's actually a very caring person and all this. And so, it's a great intro, but unfortunately she's rarely met that peak.
True, yeah, it's not mentioned very often how, like, charitable she is and stuff. We need reminders of that, just, what's it called, like, reaffirm it throughout the series. But, like, I always find that so interesting that, like, Rentaro was desperately looking for just something to latch onto, and he finally found it. He was like, oh, thank God, okay, you're a good person. I can work with this. But yeah, I agree. I mean, she's kind of just there for me. She's another one of the classic, adults trying to fuck a high schooler that just found an interesting home in this series with Natty and Hahari and her. And I guess Tama as well. It's hard to think of her as an adult, but she is.
Technically, yes.
Yes, so, but that's always a funny dynamic where she was like, I mean, chapter 1, she's like, fuck me in this tent. I'm like, how do you still have a job, Miss Ethics Teacher? What the
Because she's
By the grace of Hahari.
something that I guess like kind of one of her point that's not really brought up on, but she's very good at okay, this word, I hate this word. Compartmentalizing. Compartmentalizing. I don't think I'm saying that right. But where she's able to just
compartmentalizing?
Yeah, where she's able to just put the drunkiness away. She even kind of says that in her intro. She's like, if she forces herself to make a choice, she hates it, but if it's like there's no other choice, she just deals with it.
Yeah. Yes. Very relatable.
Yeah, so the fact that she's able to like put away her drunkenness and actually be like a good person in like the Bunny Maid chapter, or even that brief moment, I brought this up one time in the Discord. There was someone who was asking, have I ever seen Momoha in the classroom? And I brought it up because in Tama's, not in her introduction, but the following Tama chapter, where she was getting the job and she was thinking about everyone else in the harem having their jobs, we actually see Momoha in the classroom teaching. And I found that's like, oh, so she's actually really good at being, like a teacher when it comes time. But it's just she's spending all of her free time being this drunk dumbass, basically. And
that is the vibe I get from her. Oh, did you have more?
Like she has just so many sides to her, which I just find interesting. Unfortunately, it's just the side that we're always seeing in the manga is the drunk, horny side.
Yeah, and then we get little glimpses, right? Like the chapter recently where Iku got a crow shoved up her ass. We see them just like, she's out there gardening. She's doing her job,
it
reminds me actually, it's deep red lore here. It reminds me of my parents, where like they were massive drunks, but they were responsible about it, where they would only drink on the weekend. They would never drink on a work night, but when they did drink, they got shit-faced, like vomit drunk, where they like, and that was tough for a kid to deal with. But all that to say, like, it reminds me of that. Like she is able to kind of pack it away and be like, okay, I have a job to do. I'm not going to be as shitty at my job, but the microsecond I'm not on the clock, this is what I'm doing to deal with whatever life has thrown to me.
Yeah, so I like that aspect about her, but like I said, it's just so rare that we see this other side to her, and that what brings her down for me. Otherwise, I think she'd be almost an A for me.
Yeah, for me, she just exists in this, like, just there.
She has some great jokes because of being the dumb drunk. She has some good jokes, but that's all she's been bringing.
Yeah, because I remember, like, originally I did have her A, but I think, based on the sort of flatlining of her, development, it probably, by now, it has kind of, I would say, drifted into, like, maybe B territory.
Yeah, C somewhere.
Like lowest B, that kind of thing.
I mean,
I'm a big fan of hot, horny Diogenes, but it's like, I need to see a little more of that.
I'm looking at our C right now. We've got Mai, we've got Chio, we've got Iku.
I'm trying to. There's almost like a pattern to these our B's and C's right now. And I'm trying to think, like, what pattern does she fall into?
Well, I feel like I like everyone in C more than I like her. I don't know if that's true for you guys.
I
can see it.
If we were to go based on that, I would almost put Momoha at the top of C and Mai at the end of B if we were kind of going with that. I think we should.
I'm okay.
I think we should probably address that. Like, do we like her more or less than Mai? I think Mai's the barometer right now.
I think I'll say I do. I mean, I mean, yeah, I really appreciate someone who is willing to openly say "let's fuck" or whatever on like the first quote unquote date. But I mean, yeah, I think Mai has a little bit more interesting sort of. Like,
yeah, I can talk about Mai more than I can talk about Momoha, and that's a good. Yeah, I love the idea of Mai being the line, the fucking bridging divide between C and B.
All right, so yeah, right. So I guess we're going there, like C under Mai.
Oh, yes, and I think I see a Rios rant coming. Yeah, not rant, a Rios gush. Yeah.
Oh, wait, is that the cue to go to Rin?
Yeah.
This is, unless you had more to say.
No, unless I think of anything. Wait, I think there was something I was going to point up, or not point up, but bring up. But now I can't remember. I think it was just a stub and neck note anyway, so let's just move on. If I think of it, I'll bring it up.
Yeah.
I'll just say this quickly about Rin.
Yeah.
I know Rin is like, if you are in the 100 Girlfriends fan Discord, you know that Rin has the cult following. Like, she is the cult favorite girlfriend.
As she should.
And I don't dislike Rin, but I don't see the massive appeal that she's gotten.
Fighting words.
I'll see.
I mean, I like her. I think she's really cute and she has a fun gimmick and all that. But I don't know what it is about her that puts her on this like pedestal that she has gotten herself in, at least in the official Discord.
Well, as Rios and I have both stated, we like freak women. That's part of it. That's a big part of it. But yeah, go ahead, Rios.
Yeah. The labyrinthine depths of my like feelings for like I don't even think love is it's too specific to like, you know, really like capture the universe of feelings that I have for this girl. I mean,
so cute.
I mean, yeah, her introduction was very like it was a beautiful. It was like almost like a horror movie style like reveal of like, you know, we get to see like this seemingly, you know, normal rich girl. I mean, you know, we've had those before with like Hakari, me trying to be that person. You know, we get Rin being that like tough type of character. I mean, I remember it being like, oh, okay, so he's in the violin. He has to go there. Like he mentioned, he has to get to a violin lesson real quick. So I was thinking, oh, maybe her thing's gonna be like he has like strict parents or whatever, and he has like a very restrictive household. And then you know, like the car almost knocks a rock, not her, into her violin case, and Rentaro, the self-sacrifice man he is, just unthinkingly allows his hand to like knock the like pedal away. And then when she's, you know, like tying up, tending to the wound, he basically reveals her like almost like monstrous love of like gore and violence. And I remember it was initially it was kind of like a Junji Ito style jump scare, but then as you know, as I got past that, you know, that basic sort of human reaction, I started to see like, oh my, like the fucking main character from like Sai no Uta. I was like, there's something about this girl that's like bewitching. I was, you know, like, I mean, she has a very horror-esque aesthetic to it. That is, you know, played up a lot in like the cover images. I mean, you know, the whole hands like gripping your face in like very yandere-esque fashion. I mean, there's so many little like little details like that to kind of play into her being like a horror character. But then, I mean, at the end of the day, she's a very sort of sweet sort of person. I mean, like he would never, as far as we know, she would never actually like effectuate. Yeah, he loves gore, but he wouldn't cause it, you know.
Yeah, so like, to me, I'm a big fan of characters who have like this secret side to them that they're kind of like nervous to show. You know, and like I can really relate to being super into something that you just can't talk about with your parents, you know, or your family, right? And Rios has mentioned before, and I'm sure he'll go into this more, but like Rin's story is incredibly similar to his, except just exchange violence with lewdness, and you know, that's why like he's a professional like I don't know, I don't know if you call yourself hentai drawer. Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, the professional, like the more highfalutin version is like I'm an adult artist or an erotic artist, but yeah, obviously hentai artist is like the more
like, you ever see that meme of Cosmo yelling at Timmy? It's like, no, Timmy, you're addicted to porn. It's like that's just basically what I'm feeling right now. It's like, no, Rios, you're just addicted to porn.
No, that's not true.
Oh, my Lord.
Rios, Moonlight sent the meme.
I'm a man of culture. Timmy, you're addicted to porn.
Oh my Lord.
But yeah, so like Rin's nice because like I said, like there's this like genuine love for this thing. It's not just, I don't know, I feel like you can take two people who love the same thing. One of them, they love it and they have an unhealthy relationship with it, and one of them they have like a healthy appreciative relationship with it. And Rin just feels like she just has this like love of it, and it like means so much to her. And I just, there's something about the dynamic of like, I'm dating this girl and we have this like secret thing that we can enjoy together. Like, I don't know, there's something kind of like hot and spicy about that. Like, ooh, we can't let your parents know we're up here watching Saw 6. You know, like, and I just love the idea. She's having so much fun. Like when they're in the Resident Evil booth and she's just like fucking
pleasure in that shit. God, I loved that. I mean, I love how that chapter ends where it's like the to be continued at the end of a horror movie or something where it's like, you know, like, you know, as if she's like, you know, again, like I mean, like all these little like references, as if she is like the monster in a horror movie. Like I love that contrast between that and her being, you know, I mean, just like her persona as like, you know, like it's not even necessarily a persona because she does love violin genuinely.
That's what I was just gonna say, right? Like on top of that, she would be a lesser character if the violin shit, like if she was written in a way where it was like, yeah, this violin thing, I don't even like it, I just do it because my parents want me to. But no, like she loves that too. Like she is another example of the type of characters we talk about that we like, where she's super multifaceted. She has so many layers to her. You feel like you could have a real conversation with her, right? Like you don't. She's not only gonna talk about violence. Like you can have a conversation with her about the weather or music or anything. But that's why one of my favorite chapters of recent memory is the one where she goes and sees a violent movie with Nemu, right?
I love that chapter. It's so good.
That chapter is excellent.
We're gonna go into that chapter a lot when we get to Nemu.
Yes, I'm sure we will. That's a great one for her. And so I just like we discussed that a lot in our review, where like I love that she's overhearing this conversation and she's like, she wants to like ask Nemu if she's interested, but she's nervous. And you know, I like, because like some people, I don't know, they might think you're kind of weird if you're like, hey, you want to see this fucked up bloody movie? She didn't want to assume, right? She didn't want to assume that she's into the same stuff.
I find kind of weird because like the whole family knows her shtick, so it's like I don't know why she would be so afraid of that.
I interpreted it as Japanese, like what's it called? Like the politeness that's like really prevalent over in their society. That's what I assumed. I don't know if you had a take on that, Rios.
I mean, also as someone who, I mean, you know, like as someone who's been in the same situation regarding erotic stuff, I mean, it can be very well like just because you know that this person is, you know, sort of nominally like okay with the thing doesn't mean like maybe they're like how do you know they're okay with what you're into? You know, it's like that insecure, not in, you know, that you get so used to hiding that sort of thing in public life that it can be kind of hard to convince yourself that it's safe to or let down the sort of like guard or whatever. I mean, like there's so many times where like I will like sort of steer conversations away from that. I make art because, you know, if someone's like, oh, okay, like, can you show me some of your art? It's like, oh, I mean, we're kind of in the workplace. I can't really, I'm not sure if that's appropriate. I mean, I barely have any. But anyway, yeah, I mean,
I love that too, because then the conversation came up with like, well, okay, one of the reasons that Rios and I became friends so quickly is that our friendship started over a conversation about lewd art. So like,
I mean, like right
there
away,
was no question. Yeah,
right away. This thing is such a big part of my life. Like, I know you're okay with it, so it makes it much easier to progress because I don't have to like figure out, okay, how do I broach this thing which is both a big part of my life, but also I know society doesn't really like. So I mean, for me, seeing Rin be like, even though, you know, she's in a group that should be more or less down for whatever. I mean, they're down with hitting Ika with a goddamn bat. Like, so, I mean, yeah, I can still see how, like, you know, even with that, there might be a part of you kind of like, oh, but maybe they're not okay with me. But, yeah.
I think maybe it was like, I don't want to assume, you know, like, I don't, like, I think it's more about the asking, right? Like, she's okay, you know, if I'm doing my own violent thing on the corner, that's one thing, but, like, if, I don't know, so there might be some people who are going to, even though they're cool with me doing my thing, if I'm trying to suck them into it, they might be made uncomfortable with it, you know, type stuff. But yeah, I fair enough. But I think that adds to her character because, like, she's really into the violent stuff, and when she's, like, enjoying it, she's willing to let loose and be, like, a freak, but, like, her real self is still very, like, timid and shy, and she doesn't want to bother people. It's like that dichotomy is really good.
She's a proper young lady.
That's a character archetype in and of itself, you know, like the posh sort of Elizabeth Bathory type almost. I mean, luckily she's not killing anyone yet. But.
Just in general, though, like characters that just have such a passion, people in general that just have such a passion. Like that's one of the things that instantly kind of like drew me to Rios as a person and as like a YouTube partner. He's got this like everything we do he's got such a passion for it. When like he talks about it, he's got all these ideas about how we can make it better. And but yeah, I guess all that to say, I will end off this Rin glaze sesh by saying I just love a person who's into a hobby and super into it.
And I guess my last little piece is please check out the check out the BioRin sub or channel thing, because I want to that'll be helpful over like for why people in general seem to have like why she has a bit of a cult following. Like I think there is something about how like how easy it is to make her like insecure about her like thing or whatever, and I think it really draws out that reaction that you hear from Mimi and Hakari. This is during the chapter where she and the other like I guess rich girls go to like that like weirdly advanced puppet thing.
Yeah, I love that chapter.
That woman. Yeah. And I mean I think that she really draws out that feeling of like you're like, oh, it's oh dear, it's okay. Like I don't care that you're into this sort of weird thing. Like it's perfectly it's fine.
It's only an improvement for me. Like I said, like just the idea of someone so cute and little and baby, but being into something like that is just such a. I just fucking it just like scratches my neurons, man. I fucking love it.
Her character design is something out of this world. Like I mean,
really
to say nothing of the shark teeth, which are just like let me run my tongue over those teeth. But anyway,
what?
Earl, horny bonk this man.
I'll bonk me so I bleed so that Rin can bask.
No, don't bonk him now. Don't give him what he wants.
Highlights or the red gradient of her hair. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, the red gradient is a really nice feature.
Yes,
I love.
What is there not to love about this woman?
Rin, like Rios is at like a 7 for everything else we talk about, but when Rin comes up, he just fucking lights up.
He brings something out of me. It's like,
I hope you find your real life Rin one day. Right?
Yes, I had her at the highest S tier, only behind Rentaro in my original thing, and I mean for this one I realized that SSSS is the highest, but I mean I would put her in SSS SSS tier, but I mean I'll make a concession.
I'll make a compromise.
Yeah, to have her be just SSS.
Just SSS.
If you're comfortable with that.
Yeah, I mean, like so for me she's also S, so it's gonna be Moonlight's gonna bring.
How did our
I mean, I do like the moments that she's brought the series, so I gotta give respect to that. Like, one of my favorite just offhanded jokes. It's like not even really a joke, but just a moment that when it was in her introduction to the family, and Mimi was like, "So finally, one has come, like a prim and proper young lady," and then Hikari's like, "I'm right here," and then the narrator was also pointing to Ms. Natty's like, "Don't forget her." Like, I don't know why I love that joke so much. It just worked for me. But yeah, I also love that the date with all the prim and proper young ladies of Hikari, Mimi, and Rin. I just love that like cohesion they've had, their little bond they have, and when she went full like drooling and Mimi was like, "Oh, I think you meant to say cutie," and she's like stroking her hair, like that's all great. So I definitely do really like the character. I just don't have this cult fascination with her like everyone else does. So I'd be willing to do bottom of A. Because she also doesn't have that main character status that we were talking about with like Kurumi and Nano and even Meimei to an extent. So I would say
I could see her be the main character of like a slice of life kind of.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Ooh, yeah. Yes, I could see that. It would honestly something like the It's Not My Fault I'm Not Popular girl.
Yeah, that's
like that kind of vibe, but instead of like being like a femcel, she's just like weirdly into violence and she has to like hide that from people.
All right, so how about above Meimei then at least?
Okay, I can.
You've made a lot of sacrifices.
I made so many sacrifices.
It hurts. What would if it was your tier list? Where is she, Moonlight?
She's probably around where we have her, like either low A's, high.
Then
B's.
you made no sacrifices.
Yeah. Okay. Let's maybe push her up like another. Like I mean
But the problem is Kurumi
like
she doesn't have the kind of character depth that like Kurumi and Nano have had. Like maybe she'll have that one day, and then I'll be okay with putting her higher there. But as of right now.
I'm racking my brain trying like, is there anything I can do to, like any Rin chapter that
that's the problem. She hasn't had a good focus chapter yet, outside of the one with Mimi and Hikari. It's like she's just been kind of relegated to almost. I know I'm gonna get punished for this, but almost to a Flanderization.
Perhaps.
Because I don't know. See, I think I disagree with that. And like, remember, I was the Iku guy, and I'm willing to admit she's kind of been Flanderized.
I'm not saying she's been as Flanderized as Iku, but there has been a point where how many times in a chapter now is just she's like, oh, blood, yes, violence, and that's really all she's done.
I think unfortunately that's because we've been just inundated with these chapters that are just daily life, daily life, daily life.
And that's unfortunately when we get the most Flanderization out of these characters.
Yeah. Well, I think of there was actually this wasn't super recent, but it was recent enough to be reviewed by Rios and I. So in the last like half a year, there was a daily life where Rentaro just went to one of her shows.
Yeah. Oh, I love that.
It was really nice. I mean, that was great because she's just up there playing violin and Rentaro's like, screaming and shit. And yeah, I mean, so like, I don't know. I feel like she's maybe a little Flanderized, but nowhere near.
Yeah, she's a little That's what I was saying. She's a little Flanderized, not so much as some of the others, but she is a little bit.
Okay, so the real villain here is Nakamura for not giving my girl the love and attention she deserves, so that everyone would be able to appreciate her magnificence. Okay, I can accept it from that framework.
We'll be sending a strongly worded letter to the magazine, and hopefully they will forward it to Nakamura.
And fun fact regarding Rin, she, for the people who have decided to stick around this whole video to listen to it, like a video I'm working, like the next like side content video that I'm working on is I'm working on an official kiss count throughout the whole manga, and Rin is the reason why I started the video, because I realized I think Rin is like in the bottom tier of how many times have we physically seen Rentaro kiss a girlfriend. Wow. And so I wanted to prove that, and that's the video I'm currently like working on the side right now.
That is damn tragic. She deserves more kisses.
Is he afraid of her teeth?
Possibly. Is she gonna like bite his lip?
I'll be honest with you, I could see her being a biter with kissing, for sure.
Easily.
Yeah.
The hickeys and other sorts of assorted like love injuries that she would leave would be insane.
Well, that was a hell of just a knob slob sesh from Rios and I while Moonlight listened patiently.
It's like I had to like bring us back down to reality. It's like hold on a sec. Let's get out of the headcanon for a second.
Headcanon is like half of my fun with this series, but fair enough. Oh goodness!
Now I move to a more openly controversial figure.
Shoutouts to Kirby guy in our Discord. He will be writing an essay. He's already writing the essay to put in your comments.
I mean, I remember, for her like realizing when I realized that this girl was basically just a Fujoshi but for numbers. That really sort of elevated her character. I mean, it was such a wild, like for me, that was such a wild,
certainly unique. I'll give him
combination of characters. And I mean, I think because you don't really know, like similar to how you don't really, you're not as weeb enough to know about like CUNY. You don't really know too much about Fujoshi, right? So I think because for that,
I'm picking up through context what it meant, right?
Yeah,
but yes,
so like for you, this was like sort of your first real introduction to this type of person. They're definitely more common in like slice of life sort of stories. Like I remember the Teen Snafu who had Fujoshi character in there that was not just like Suu, but had very similar. Whenever her special interests, which for Fujoshi are usually yaoi, and thinking about it that way, like Suu does kind of treat numbers a bit like they're men.
Oh yeah, she definitely talks about.
Oh man, 59 just entered the room.
Yes, that was like the most.
That was the best Suu. Dude, I have to say about that.
Yeah, I mean, he treats him like he's a fangirl, and her fandom just happens to be like all the numbers in the universe. It's like
there's a lot, endless content for her. I'm jealous.
I mean, we can only hope that our favorite fandoms have literal infinite possibilities, like the way numbers do, like
infinite chapters.
Yep.
So Sue's another one I've come around on due to the relentless berating of Discord chats and comments. But also genuine, like the content in the manga, right? So Suu, instantly, when Suu was introduced, she was pretty much instantly an F tier for me initially, because I just immediately was like, wow, Nakamura is usually so good at like coming up with really three-dimensional characters, like characters that have like a main gimmick, but there's like multiple layers to who they are as people. And just initially, Suu really felt like her whole thing was like, I'm the numbers one, I'm weird and I like numbers. And I was like, okay, that's kind of weird and strange and kind of out of pocket. And it felt like whereas a lot of the other girls have weird stuff, but the weird stuff like leads into something and makes sense. Like, you know, Natty being a Westaboo, an American obsessed, but there's a reason, and that reason kind of makes it feel more real and like, I don't know, like a human being. But I don't know, the number thing just came out of nowhere for me. So at first I was like, no, I don't really like it. And it also felt like every single one of her bits or gags was just her being over there, like, you know, one, you know, like just like saying a number. I'm like, wow, very funny, Sue. But I can't deny that she has grown as a person. You know, I think too, my favorite running gag in our reviews now is to constantly bring back the daily life where they're on the Ferris wheel. Because when I'm reading that Ferris wheel daily life, I don't know if I had a chance to tell you this yet, Moonlight, but that Ferris wheel daily life, I was reading it. And I was on the edge of my seat because I had such little faith in Sue that I actually assumed that the punchline was going to be her dangling her body out of the fucking car to see the number. Like, that's what I thought was going to happen. So I'm sitting there like, okay, Sue's going to like almost kill herself trying to look at this number, and then Rentero's going to have to drag her back in. That's what I thought the joke was going to be. But then, I'm pleasantly surprised, she actually was like, no, I don't need to look at that number because you're here, Rentero, and your face is just as good or whatever. Said, I don't know, and I'm like, wow, oh my god, like there's a couple neurons rubbing together in there, you know. I'm proud of her. But I really did like that. And the other thing I liked too, like I said real briefly, was the chapter with, you know, fucking Kusuri wanting to play that game with her. Internal logic on how this game works that just makes perfect sense to her, but no one else. And Kusuri, who's normally like the wacky or the weird one out of like a straight man weird guy duo, Kusuri being like, I don't understand this game, was so fucking funny. So I appreciate her gag. I've learned to see that her character is growing.
Yeah, I'm pretty similar where, yeah, she... I think I remember just reading her introduction. I'm like, wow, this is like the first miss in quite a while.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I had the same exact opinion.
And I'm just like, and she didn't get any better until the first set of Flirty Daily Life chapters where her and Rentero are just kind of chilling in the room and like, we're just going to shout a bunch of giant numbers and like, well, I like you this much. And I'm like, okay, here's a little bit, here's a little bit of a development on her. And then, like you said, the other Flirty Daily Life chapter with her at the amusement park, I'm like, oh, this is good. And the little bit of the floating island arc that we got out of her was also good because once you actually break her out of the numbers stuff, it's actually, she does have now this loving relationship with Rentaro. And I'm like, okay, finally, here's something to give her outside of like, oh, look, a number, isn't that cute?
Ahko was kind of like, you know, Sue's like sort of support person, whatever. Like if she was like, if it was like a sort of situation where like an autistic person has like someone sort of like to help them, you know, like you said, to relate people to their special interests, to help them sort of integrate into society via that sort of thing. You know, it's like, I mean, it's both a really great way to like make Ahko sort of stand out as, like you said, a very thoughtful, emotionally intelligent person, but it also helps. I mean, it helps Sue improve her character, but in a very diegetic, in story sort of way, rather than like, because I mean, like I don't like Kyo got a lot of like improvement, but I don't know if it was like as driven within the text in the same way that like Sue improvement was very much like motivated in like, with Kyo you can kind of feel like Nakamura realized, okay, I gotta like start changing some things, even if there's no like say character arc that occurs in the story to motivate it. But with Sue, I mean, obviously we get Ahko like literally being the catalyst for Sue being able to just see other human beings as things worthy of her attention, basically.
Yeah, I mean, and just to like kind of pile onto what you're saying there, like, you know, you had mentioned the idea of like, oh, you know, maybe if she's, because I could, you know, Sue's very clearly like drastically autistic. I mean, like so autistic, and you know, something that autistic people tend to have a trouble with is like eye contact, remaining focused during a conversation. So I like the idea of Ahko kind of giving her the advice, like, hey, when Rentero's talking to you, maybe like count the amount of pores on his face. When Karene's talking to you, count how many bows she has in her hair. You know, and then like relate that, your love of that number to her for that day, and then whatever compliment you'd give that number, give to her. You know, like I could see like cute little dynamics like that, like helping her to like acclimate to society a little bit.
And I was a little surprised to hear both of you thought her first chapter was like meh, because I mean for me it was kind of like, I mean, it didn't sell me on it, but I was like, oh, I thought it was a really good little story being told in this chapter, especially like for the climax where, I guess
Number
like
of
more like the
Rentaro.
yeah, more like the denouement. I guess like the climax would be when Rentaro shows up and does like the number thing, which I mean, I thought that was a simultaneously a goofy as fuck solution, but also like classic Rentaro. You know,
It was a jaw drop moment for me. I was just aghast.
It was a jaw drop moment in every sense. But I mean, I also, I mean, what I really appreciate was how, I mean, you know, like Sue basically sort of mirrored this sort of like whole conceit of the story, where she's like, you know, like I can't, like, how am I supposed to love you when I love all the numbers of the world equally? You know, I can't choose one of them. You know, and Rentaro basically sort of like he reaffirms the sort of themes of the story. Like, no, you don't have to choose. You know, you can love everyone equally, and that's how he gets her to like you know, agree to the whole poly thing.
I do like that, but I, you know, and maybe to try to speak for Moonlight and myself here on the didn't like that chapter train. I like, for me, her character being introduced, and I understand that this was like the point to kind of like catch you off guard, but like you get a character like this, and like instantly, I did assume, just like Rentaro did, like, oh, she's like gonna be like autistically savant at like math. She's gonna be the math whiz. No, okay, well, are you this? No, and it's just like it just felt like almost purposefully trying to devalue her as a person as much as possible. Just like, to me, I was just aghast at how much of like it reminded me of the Momoha chapter, where it's introducing her as like an unlikable loser, but with the Momoha chapter, it like twisted it around and was like, oh, actually, there's this thing about her. I never really got that with Sue.
Yeah.
I was just like,
she doesn't have another level to her, like Momoha has. Yeah, her most prominent thing is being this drunk, vice-ridden person, but she does have these moments of smart teacher, respected adult kind of thing. Sue hasn't had anything like that. It would be nice if, like, going back to like at least the math thing, like maybe she, like, you know how she said like 1 + 1 should equal 11. Like, where did the 2 1s go? You know, that kind of stuff. It would be kind of almost a better character if she was like, she was really good at math, but she hated it. Like, she hated that she was so good at math. And kind of going back to the joke that Rentaro says, like, you want to tear like the foundation of math at its core to like make 1 + 1 = 11. So she's like, she's really good at math, but she hates it and she wants to change it. But she
got so good at it because she hates it so much. She picks it apart.
It's like, I'm gonna learn everything I can about math so then I can change it and make it.
Math is living in my head rent free.
Yeah. So I think that would be a better side to her. Like, she secretly she hates math because of what it does to the numbers, but she's also really good at it when the time comes. So that would be like that would be a fun like coin flip on the character. But no, she doesn't have that other side of the coin to her. Something else I want to say about Sue, I still have like a hard time remembering that she is also a first year like many of the other girlfriends. I keep thinking she's a middle schooler because she's so tiny. I hate to bring this also up, but she's also flat like all the other middle schoolers. So it's always kind of like a trip to me when remember that, oh yeah, Sue is in the same class as Ahko and all these other first year characters. I'm like, oh yeah, she is a first year. She comes off as such a cross as a middle schooler to me. And also, I hate that I prefer her older design when we saw like a flashback of her back with her grandparents or whatever, and she had like a little bit of longer hair, like in these tiny braids. I'm like, oh, I actually kind of like that instead of what she has now.
Yeah, he forgets that I do kind of forget that she is like a high schooler, like in the same. I think she's in the same class as Ahko, I think, or maybe Ahko.
Yeah, she's got middle school energy, doesn't she? I often forget that she's not one of the middle schoolers.
In that same chapter, Ahko sort of helps her acclimate herself to the thing. Like, she mentions it like what's the word? Like, he mentions that she basically hates herself for being so number obsessed that she can't relate to people. And I'm sure. I mean, if we can headcanon a bit, she probably has gotten. It's probably been like a sort of vicious cycle where she's been rejected by people for being so weird. Like, you know, like you're into numbers so much, but you can't do math. Like, come on, and that's probably that's probably pushed her.
That's what I would say. I'd say the same thing to her.
That's probably pushed her further away from other people and towards numbers. I'm looking at the chapter. What exactly? Yeah, like this is more Ahko's sort of a reading of the thing, but he's talking about how like even though Rentaro would never hate her, Sue still stuck hating herself. And when you zero in on something you hate about yourself, or zero in, number pun, actual number pun. But, when you zero in on something you hate about yourself, your fixation on that thing. I mean, it basically becomes ingrained into her. And I think, there might be a bit of a headcanon to be made there that, that Sue has, she has some, I guess there's insecurities. She hasn't really dressed yet, and she's been running away from by being so focused on numbers. Where if she were, maybe I guess to confront her fears, maybe she wouldn't be so numbers as I guess. I don't know.
I'll say another thing about. I'll give this one positive thing to Sue, at least her introduction chapter, was I do find it very. It was at least nice to the point where she's like, okay, I really do like Rentaro. I do like him, and I want to make the effort into liking him and the rest of the family, and I hate the idea that they're all gonna hate me, so she put in the effort to try to, and called upon Ahko to help with that, so that's at least one positive of that whole aspect. And I actually do think she has a very interesting design too, where this like kind of short hair with the glasses and everything, and silver hair, and the way she does, like, she has a very interesting character design that is very different from the other girlfriends, but she just has one of the least interesting personalities to go along with it.
I think that was part of the reason that initial chapter disappointed me so much, because I saw her design and I was instantly like, oh, I love this design, and then it was just like trash personality.
Damn. It was almost like, it was like, I love the design, but then like her personality was like even like I like even more. I mean, I'm kind of fan. That's the sharp, stern expression that she has normally. I can't be bothered with your shit. I mean, I don't know what it says about me, but I do find that kind of attractive in a woman. Yeah, I think that helps me relate to Sue more, because I'm more just like I'll be there, but I'm not gonna participate. I'm not gonna play the game. I just can't. I can't.
I'm pretty bad at it too.
I can barely like if I try to do it, it's just gonna be painful for both of us. Like, you're gonna see that I'm struggling over here, and like the conversation.
I can't talk to my family about my newest lewd drawing. I'm gonna fucking explode.
But I mean,
I don't consider what we were doing there singing her praises. It was me giving her as many benefits.
I said
trying to find the few
benefits. The more, despite me being the most complimentary ever. Yeah, I still had her like in D in my original too. But
Rios is just nice. He's a nice man.
Well, to fictional characters, yes, to real people, I'm more.
And then Moonlight, are you F or D with her?
Given recent developments, I can at least put her in D. I almost want to like put her above Momiji. I almost want to put Momiji down into D and put Sue in where Momiji is now.
If you put Momiji at the top of D and Sue at the bottom of D, I'm fine with it.
Yeah, I can live with that.
But do we think that Sue is better than Yaku and the maid and Momiji? Wow. How do you feel about that, Rios?
I mean, I don't know. I mean, for me, I think I probably would put May higher than Sue, but I think that's personal.
You know what? I can go with that.
This is fair. Momiji, your hatred of Momiji is so strange to me. But we've had the conversation. She doesn't have to be in C, but I mean, just put her at the top of D. Like, I'm willing to compromise and give her D if you want, but not below Sue.
Damn, Sue is like he's almost what Mai is, but for like the bottom of D tier.
She's my line.
Yeah.
All right, we'll leave it there and see what happens. All right.
I just saw who's next.
Eira. As I was just saying to someone who was reading the series right now, Eira is like the definition of, it's like, real life is just not fair. Why is this character so hot?
Yes.
Oh man, yeah. I suppose if you're like super athletic and like really, really trained and toned, you'd theoretically be this hot in real life.
But it's also not only that, but it's not just the being a chick, because you could say that about like Iku and stuff like that. But there's just something else about, it's probably what Nozawa's do. It's like, okay, we're gonna make this like half Japanese, half Brazilian lady, and we're just gonna give her all the best assets because of that.
we're fucking gene therapying right now.
Yeah, big boobs, great ass,
the long like
hairstyle,
the hair,
like,
just everything.
Like the sort of half like a, I don't know, like the forelock, I guess.
Kicks a bunch of incels ass in her intro chapter.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. I mean, one thing that I always think about when I think of Eira is just like the sort of character or the arc that takes place in the first chapter of her introduction, where it's like, we see like, this very capable, athletically fit woman, and then when
we give her like the most cowardly personality ever.
Yes, I love that.
I love how for me it just continued. Like I was like, oh, okay, he's ready to bug, okay, but then it's like,
that's what I thought too.
Yeah, it's just progressively getting more. Like he's Nakamura kept pulling the curtain back further. It's like, no, he's afraid of like, he's afraid of things like weak things. Like he's afraid of like things too strong to kick, and then it's finally we get to like, he's afraid of everything he cannot take out with a kick that he can't solve with a kick. It's like,
For me, this was one of my favorite intro chapters from the perspective of like the reveal of the gimmick, right? I was like just enamored by this idea. I was like, what a creative idea. You have someone who physically, as we learn later, can stop a car with a kick.
Yeah.
You know, she is fucking badass. But like I just love the idea that it's so funny. Like, oh, this person is like Superman. But like, oh, if it's something that I have to do, like, oh shit, like I'm really scared I'm gonna fail my math test. I cannot kick hard enough to not fail my math test. It's so funny, man. Like I really do like her gag. I do think, and I think we'll probably get into this, that we could use a little bit more into her character, a little bit more depth, a little bit more development. But I mean, as her gimmick, as her gag goes, it's top of the top. I also like that she has a thing going on right now where she's trying to decide if she wants to take over the dojo or kind of go in her own path for a career, right? And like her dad wants to kind of like let her make that choice, and she's got really supportive parents. You know, again, the coin flip. Do you have shitty parents or good parents in this? And it seems like usually we're leaning towards good parents, which is nice. But I like that element of her too. You know, she's a college girl. I think she's the only college girl, right? Yeah, I would love another praying for girlfriend 33 to be a college girl.
It's like technically Tama should be a college, and she's only 20.
That's a lot of work.
That's a lot of work.
As someone who's been to college,
same.
That's tough. Oh my god. And why should she? You know, she's got this loving polycule to tend to her every. But all that to say, Eira's very interesting. There's a lot going for her.
All of the older ones do have like a side to them where they can just fit into society a lot better. So it's almost like a thing of like you have all the high school girlfriends and they're just like all in on their quirk and their weirdness. But as soon as they get out of high school and they're older, they're like, okay, yeah, I have this weird side to me, but I can also lock in and be a functioning member of society when I need to.
You know what it is? They're farther along in their development. We're seeing a glimpse into the future, a future Iku where she doesn't have to turn her ass towards every single movie object. For me, she's kind of just there. Like she's another one that I like, but I don't have like strong positive feelings for her. I would put her like bottom of B.
Yeah, somewhere around there. I feel because I'm like, she has the attractiveness feature. She has her Flanderization, but it's not terrible Flanderization.
And it's a funny gag.
It's a funny gag, but it does get worrisome sometimes. But she does have her lock-in side, and the fact it's also interesting, at least in the flirty daily lives, they're really driving home this whole, you guys like, yeah, I'm a college girl, you're a high school boy. Like, isn't that kind of something? Because all of her flirty daily lives have revolved around that topic.
Age gap.
Ooh.
So it's interesting, and I'm curious where they go for it. And that obviously that's focus chapter of hers was also a nice deep dive into her. So yeah, I'd say like high B somewhere.
Let me see. Is she better than... Okay, this is an open question to everybody. Is she better than Hikari, Yamame, Hahari, Mimimi?
I think that focus chapter really did a lot for her character. Like, as well, I mean, again, like I said, like it really managed to like bring in her gimmick in a very very nuanced, intelligent way. Like, you know, it showed, like, even helped Mei like sort of progress to the next stop in her character arc.
Yes, it did.
She had also the binds, and I mean her Eira's character development is so good it makes other characters around her develop. So I mean, I don't know, maybe.
But yeah, I think B is a good place for her.
Yeah, like mid B.
Here, man, it's Tama time.
It's Tama time. Okay.
Tama as like this based anti-capitalism, hates work, you know, like down with executing the billionaires, but like, you know, someone else can do that because that's like a lot of work.
Yeah, but that's the thing is though, like
I'd
be totally okay with Tama if she was like that and just like, I just don't want to work for corporations and all that. But no, it's literally, I don't want to do anything. To the point of like,
that was something.
I don't want to have hobbies either. Like it would be different if she had like. Okay, let's reimagine Tama for just a second. I don't want to work for this corporation because it's soul draining and all that. I want to open a cat cafe. Like if they gave her that, where it's like, yeah, she just wants to be a small business owner that loves cats because she just even. The whole thing is like, cats don't have to work or do anything, but at least to the point of she's still a human in the sense of, I want to be self-sufficient and do something I enjoy, and that's open a cat cafe or something along those lines. If she had some kind of aspiration like that, instead of, even as a small child, like, I don't want to do anything, I just want to lay around all day.
I'll give my headcanon spiel with Tama, but your arguments definitely hold weight, and I see your point. Basically, choosing to headcanon that Tama's thing isn't just pure laziness, because to me, I don't think anyone is born lazy or just chooses to be lazy. I think that comes from something. But yeah, I agree. I would love to have her have a hobby or, you know, you could argue that being a cat is her hobby. You know, I mean, she put effort into getting this outfit. I'm not sure where where she got this outfit. I don't know if she made it or bought it but you know, I mean, but yeah, I agree. I would like to see more of like, well, you know, this, I don't consider, I think the way you could word it is like, well, I don't consider this work because this makes me happy. You know, and I like she's doing something and someone's surprised they're doing that she's doing it or working so hard. And it's like, well, this isn't work. This makes me happy. This is fun. You know, I could see that.
It is literally, as you said, no one's born lazy. No, I think Tama is born that lazy.
Oh, damn.
So...
Damn, he's really bringing the receipts right now. He's destroying me with facts and logic a little bit.
It's just that, yeah, like, if we saw this cutoff
study
point,
up on my Tama lore. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, yeah, if we saw this cutoff point where she did become this depressed adult, or if she had like, okay, let's also go back to the cat thing of like, she had this cat as a kid. That's like where her obsession with cats came from, and then the cat died, and then the adult life started soul draining her. That's where this whole depression thing comes from. Then it would make more sense. But no, it's literally since elementary school, she's been like this. I don't want to do school. I don't want to do work. She never saw like any kind of hobby that she did as a kid that maybe she didn't have time for anymore because she was a working adult. Like none of that was ever present even as a kid. So it's the fact that this depression or whatever, this obsession with not wanting to do anything has stemmed since then makes me feel like there is nothing to this character except I don't want to do anything.
You could almost argue that, like, if they wanted to go down this pathway, the same way that, like, Ahko has, like, low blood pressure, that almost strikes me, if it really was since, like, I have to go back and reread her flashbacks, but, like, if it really was since then, you could almost argue that it's, like, a lack, like, a dopamine supply issue, you know? Like, that could be, like, a real issue if they wanted to go that direction with it, because, I mean, like, yeah, like, I agree, like, just the simple addition of her having something that she does enjoy. The reason, because you're right, the reason I don't like work isn't because I don't like what I do or it's like that draining. It's the fact that I'm spending so much time there when I'd rather be reading, writing, drawing, talking with you guys. You know what I mean? Like, it's this suck of time away from what I want to actually be doing, which is like being a human, living the human experience. And if we got more of that from Tama, that would absolutely be an improvement. So here's hoping that we see her develop a hobby that's not related to being a cat. I could definitely see that.
For my part, I do remember like Tama, he really did throw me for a loop when it came to like trying to suss out what was going on with this character on a deeper psychological level. I mean, yeah, like Moonlight mentioned, like there isn't why exactly is she trying to write up like at least 3 more times trying to write up a like, you know, analysis of a character and just petering out every time. It's like you know, like it doesn't feel like what is that where is that aversion to work come? To me, I think, cause for me that just made her character kind of more into this kind of like there's surely something there, we just don't know what it is yet. I mean, maybe perhaps I'm just credit, but I'm willing to do that for him. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like, because I mean, what I think it comes down to is that for one reason or another does not have a true passion or ambition or drive. Yeah,
maybe she hasn't found it yet. That would be awesome.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah, that would be a big thing. But yeah, I mean, in the absence of a passion or drive or ambition, whatever, it's like, yeah, why would you want to work any type of work? Why wouldn't you just want to relax or whatever the way she does? I mean, like, the only reason I do a lot of things I use because I'm passionate about it, and when I can't,
it makes brain go burr. When
I haven't been able to do that as like work and stuff, I do end up just kind of lazing around and feeling sorry for myself, and I do not like it at all. I mean, I'm different from Tama. I actually actively do not like relaxing. I just do it because my body requires it. But I mean, you know, it's kind of like
the very nano thing of you to say, by the way.
Yes, because that's why. I mean, that's part of why I made Tama is very much like the opposite. Like, and not even like, because I also consider Mei to be like true opposite of someone like me. But like Tama is more like just in another universe, and it's very hard for someone like me to like really grasp what's going on with someone like that. I mean, you know, I think there is something about how like he just doesn't want to do any work at all unless it happens to, you know, coincide with whatever her passions happen. I think he's having.
That's the thing. We haven't seen passions yet, other than Cat. But I think it really is just because she looked at Cat and saw, ooh, Cat can lay around. You know.
I mean, yeah, because I could very easily see it being something like, you know, was younger, something happened that kind of like made her associate work with this sort of like, you know, this sort of soul sucking shit that all adults hate, but then she ends up sort of like, you know, inappropriately
getting that lesson early, maybe.
Yeah, like sort of inappropriately generalizing that to all sort of like exertion work and being. I mean, you know, this is very headcanon.
But it's fun, right? And,
yeah.
Canon, which I hope it will be. I agree that I can only put her. For me personally, she's like an S tier. The most I could bring her down to would be like a high A tier. But I totally grant you that like that's all on my headcanon, and I'm reasonable. I'll see where you guys want to put her.
Hey, Rias, do you have anything you want to do? I think I already showed my receipts on everything.
Yeah.
No, yeah. I mean, he kind of destroyed me. That's why I just went into headcanon zone.
Yeah, I mean, I mentioned, like, I mean, I personally find it fascinating. Like, to me, he's like a puzzle, basically. It's like,
me too.
The lack of me being able to like easily read her character kind of makes her a little more interesting. But I do get, like, I mean, that just because a character is a puzzle doesn't mean you want to put the puzzle together. Yeah, it's like, let me fix them, then you fix them. Like, I'm not into them anymore. I don't want to date them anymore.
Yes, that was kind of fucking. It's so true. But yeah, so Tama is there for me on potential energy. Tama is thriving on potential energy right now. I really related to her vibes.
It's literally just all of there's so much we could do with this character, but we haven't done anything with this character. She's just there to make jokes about cat puns, and I don't want to work. I did like that one joke in the daily life where she said, you know, you could be an assassin with how quiet you are. It's like, but that's work. It's like, wait, you're not bothered by killing people? It's like, no, I just don't want to work.
Exactly, which is that led to a bunch of memes for me with her with the guillotine and the, you know.
Oh yeah, you don't have to do the operator. Just let gravity do the work for you.
Yeah, exactly. She could operate the guillotine. All she's got to do is let go of the rope, but then someone else could pull it for her and hand it to her.
Oh my lord, crazy work. Yeah, we're doing the girlfriends in the French Revolution. You know, who would be who? Like Rin would. I'm sure she would love it. But
Rin can clean up the bodies, mop up the blood.
Anyway, yeah, I had her at B tier originally. I mean, I can accept a little.
I will let
either way. Yeah.
Moonlight bring her down a bit because he destroyed me with facts and logic.
He showed his receipts.
Yeah. But
Tama has no receipts.
I would accept, I don't know, C. You can put her in C, I guess.
Fine, we can put her at the bottom of C. I was
so
staring at the D. I was staring at D. But I'll at least give you the benefit of Mei's been around a while to prove herself as a more interesting character, and she hasn't done it. Tama has the potential to do something, but she hasn't done it yet, but she at least has more potential than Mei's already squandered. So
that is an interesting conversation, right? The potential of a character, because it's not equal across the board. There are characters that have more or less potential.
And Mei's been around for so long to use the potential, and she hasn't done anything, whereas Tama, she's been around for a bit now, but she still has the potential to come out with some other decent amount of character development.
Yeah, I would love
Speaking of untapped potential, the queen of untapped potential here, Himeka. That's a good segue.
I mean,
all right.
One of you start. I don't have too much to say about her, but yeah.
Okay, so my Himeka, I am kind of like I am the cheerleader for Himeka. We need this. I think she is severely underrated, and that's all Nakamura's fault.
That's how I feel about Tama.
And I just find like Himeka has a really interesting dynamic to her where, on the surface level, she has this like, I just want to be the most abnormal. I love abnormal things. Everything that goes against the status quo is like my shit. But as we saw in her background chapter and like her little origin story in the volume extras, she has this sense of normalcy about her to where she doesn't want to be abnormal to the point of it's inconvenient to especially other people. Like she said, wouldn't it be great if I put this, I forget, it was like barbecue sauce or something on this tangerine. It's like, well, no, that would make the tangerine taste bad, and that would be a waste of both the people who made the tangerine and the barbecue sauce to waste it. So she has this mindfulness about her abnormality. She wants to be seen as an abnormal talent, but not at the point of being disruptive. As she also said, she wanted the idea of, I forget what her idea was, but like to hang upside down during her concert or whatever. But then she realized, no, that would not be me performing at my best. So that would be bad to the people who paid money to come see me perform. They deserve to see me at my best and perform. She has this constant struggle of, I want to be seen as this abnormal talent, but I also want to not be a hindrance to anyone or anything. So I find that
it's nice. It humanizes her to have standards.
Yeah,
like
so she has.
It's very humanizing.
I was looking for standards. But outside of that, she's just been flanderized, and in the Discord, in the 100 Girlfriends official Discord, we've kind of just labeled her as the queen of the daily life because that's the only time when she shines now. Like, all of her good stuff is in the daily life chapter. That's really when she only appears. The only time she makes an appearance in a regular chapter is just say, look at this abnormal thing I'm doing, and poof, she's gone.
Yes. Yeah. We saw it just recently in the mermaid chapter. That was literally all she did with Meru just
That
sitting.
page was fucking fire, though.
It was,
It was a fire page. But, like, also, the pants with Hasuha, like, I put them on my head. Isn't that abnormal? And then we never saw her again. So, yeah, it's unfortunate that you have this interesting character. And also the fact that she is this... I don't want to say she's an idol. Because that's like a
a big controversy. Like, he's a songstress.
Yeah, it's a songstress, which is a different thing from an idol. But she's still a celebrity to a degree. She's like a minor celebrity. And the fact that that's never also been touched upon, like, here's this minor celebrity who is going to public high school, and the fact that she has never come up as a character for her, or of like, Rentoro's never gone to a concert to her. I'm sure I'm sure they have. Like, she's gone to perform, but we just never seen it.
We saw him going to Rin's show. He's definitely going to her show. He's front row every single day. She definitely can get him front row seat.
And I don't know if the same thing applies to the songstress. I'm assuming not. But it would definitely be interesting. My headcanon chapter that I want to happen is there is like an online scandal of like, yeah, Kiki the songstress has this boyfriend, and she's also part of this polycule, but I also realized that making it such a broad thing of like making it known to the public like that would be such a undertaking for the series that I don't think they're ever going to do that.
Oh yeah.
But I don't think they're ever going to do something like that. But just something that involves her actually being a celebrity too. We got a hint of that with the daily life, once again, Queen of the Daily Life, where they were at the mall and they were listening to one of her songs on the speakers, and she's like in disguise kind of, and granted she was rocking those glasses. I love her in those glasses.
Yes.
She has some of the best outfits, by the way.
Yes, she does.
So just to see this, I would love to see this like a chapter idea, if not my like whole paparazzi. I want Rentaro to punch some paparazzi. That's what I want.
Yeah,
I want Rentaro to punch some paparazzi.
Idea. Yeah,
but
yeah, like when he was starting to burn down the journalist student thing.
I reread that recently.
But I would, if not like the whole like this Kiki the songstress has a boyfriend tabloid kind of chapter. What I also want, another chapter I would like is they have to like. Her hiding her identity is like a problem. Like, she has to constantly switch outfits and put on disguises so she can go on dates. Just something of that degree to, yeah, she wants to date Rentaro and all this, but she also has to keep up her appearance of being not an idol, but a songstress. And I also thought it would be interesting if, like, her busy schedule of being a public figure would also come, but, like, no, she's tagging along to the aquarium. She's tagging along to all this other after-school stuff when she should be, you know, busy.
As we know, time has no meaning in this series. Somehow Rentaro's able to do personal daily dates with every single one of them every day somehow, you know.
So just something to, like, you almost forget that she is a celebrity at some point just because of how underutilized she is. So that's why I'm like this cheerleader for, like, she has this potential to be a really interesting character. It's just we have never seen it.
To piggyback on what you're saying, you know, she mentions in her intro chapter, I mean, one of the things that makes her, like, cool to join the polycule is because she's imagining the public finding out and being like, oh, how irregular would that be? Like, I mean, that genuinely, that clicked with me so hard instantly, because, like, if I read a story about a singer or or an actor that I liked is, like, revealed to be in, like, a 30-plus person polycule, that would pique my, I'd be like, wow, wow, you know, like, she would love it too. I would love for that to come out publicly. And again, that would be a great shift in the story for, like, them to be a little more publicly known. And I think it'd be cool if Nakamura was brave enough to do that. I hope he does.
And it might be a personal thing, like just me just attaching to something random, but there's this one line between them. And also, I said this even in my video of the chapter, it's the Slender Lady Pajamas chapter. But they have this one line of dialogue, and I swear that's like the only dialogue they have had with one another since her intro.
Oh God!
That's how little she's appeared. I swear that I think that pajama chapter was her last like legit appearance.
Yeah,
I think you're right, honestly.
And they had this little bit of dialogue where she's where she's talking about, oh, I love watching, weird people online doing weird stuff, and Rentaro was like, maybe I should make some videos of me doing weird stuff, and she's like, you don't even have to try to be abnormal. I'm like, oh, that's like so sweet, and I love that line, and I don't know why that line has stuck with me for so long, but I'm like, okay, this really cements that I really like this character, but she's so underutilized.
And I agree with that too. Like I said earlier, like one of the things I like about Rin so much is that exact same dynamic of like, it's just so sweet to like, one of the best things about love or a relationship is to like, you get to be one of the only people that see their public side and the secret side that only you and like maybe their best friends. There's something really special about that connection. I like her being able to appreciate all of that about all the girls and all the family. Like, oh, I love all these strange sides of you. Some of them hide them more, and some of them don't hide them. But I do love that dynamic of her being able to appreciate. Just like Mimi sees the beauty in everyone, Kiki sees the beauty in abnormality
in everyone.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I will find it.
And you saying that made me realize like that is pretty much all of her flirty daily life, both at the little sports thing that they did and the mall thing. Going back to the mall, both of those were about like, here's me, you get to see the actual like Himeka side of me, and only you are allowed to see this. I'm like, oh, that's awesome.
And that's objectively awesome. Like, that's hot as well.
Yeah.
Like, it's just a hot thing. For me, letter-wise, again, she is another one that's just kind of there for me. But like, I like her. When I say just kind of there, it means positive, right? The only negatives would be like D, F, I like her, but she just needs a lot more, just like Moonlight's saying. I almost feel like this is Moonlight's Tama, right? Where like, we all agree that she doesn't have nearly as much as she needs, but there's that potential. She's writing.
I called her that in the Lost tier list video. Is she is the queen of untapped potential, and I think I put her at like high B because of that. Like, she has the potential to be a really top tier character, but it just hasn't happened yet.
Yeah. I'm willing to give her.
Yeah, I had her S.
So. Oh wow.
So because I think part of it is like, apparently, like, I'm looking at some of the old stuff I wrote about. But yeah, apparently I clocked her as like a more extroverted, outgoing Nano, and I think I was coming from that perspective because of the way he mechanically, like, so inhumanly tries to like add abnormalities to herself. And
flips juice box upside down. Look at where I'm putting the straw.
She would do that.
Yeah, and it was like,
I think she has done that.
Oh yeah, she did. The Colt bottle. Yeah, I just made that joke.
Yeah.
Or like wearing like pajamas inside out. That kind of silly ass quote unquote authenticity.
Yeah.
Like
she's very likable, but not like she's in that weird line where she's super likable to me, but I don't think about her a lot, and that's like you said, because of Nakamura, she's not getting as much as the other girls. So I'm willing to put her somewhere in maybe high B.
Yeah, I'm thinking high B. It's the lack of relevancy is really killing it. But is that lack of relevancy better or worse than being a criminal?
I mean,
so now
Hahari is probably the most relevant character in the series because he saved the world twice. So it's like, I don't know.
Here's the decision we have to make now, right? Because this is what's constantly fucking me up. How much of the tier list is we personally liking them as people, and how much of the tier list is them as characters / character development, right?
Yeah.
Because like it really changes the whole dynamic.
I definitely think as a character, Himeka has a lot of interesting stuff going for her. Because one thing that I always kind of mention is like about her is that he seems like somebody who is like very how to phrase it, like she's someone who is I remember bringing this up during our Red's first tier list, but like he's somebody who has removed all of the quote unquote weeds from her like personal garden and is now trying to like buy like store-bought like weeds to like fill out her garden and try like he's trying to achieve authenticity in like this really roundabout sort of inhuman way that's why he's like focused on become obsessed with this idea of abnormality because he can't conceive of it he can't conceive of like the sort of thing that Uto does just naturally as anything but being abnormal. When really that's just being like an authentic person. Like I remember that chapter where he and Uto do the thing where you read love so much. That was also a great chapter for Himeka because it really did show that aspect of her. Because like when right after Uto was like I'm not good enough to be like looked up to by someone like you, and like Himeka, I think what Himeka sees and looks up to in Uto is that she is a very authentic person. Even like he's willing to do weird, like nonsensical shit because that's what he is about, and like Himeka can't do that. Like he was going to do something that was like we saw during the flashback chapters like Moonlight mentioned. Like he was going to do some real honest to god weird shit, but he couldn't make himself do it because that's too weird. And like it's like that shows that someone who
He still has much to learn.
yeah, basically he needs to figure out how to be authentic.
Turn it into a genuinely her.
Yeah, in a way that is both abnormal, quote unquote, but isn't actually like disruptive and like like negative. But,
yeah,
I think that I do find that interesting part of her potential. If she ever figures that out, that'll be a big step for her.
So yeah, she's a really well-rounded character who just needs more.
I sounds
agree.
like I converted the both of you.
You kind of did, yeah. I mean, I never didn't like her. She was always just kind of right in the middle to me. But you've probably pushed her up a letter for me, definitely.
I mean, I always saw her as an S. I mean, maybe not SSS tier, but definitely S. Yeah.
I think I had her like right in the middle between B and C, but now she's like easily a high B.
Maybe like
sure. I mean, let me look at everybody. I personally wouldn't put her above Uto, but I mean, if our collective one wants to, that's fine.
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
I'll give it because Uto actually is out and about being a character, whereas Himeka isn't.
Yeah.
I also like them being together. That's nice.
Yes, they would love that.
All right.
Oh, I love them. They need to kiss right now.
That's the next ship we need.
Make them kiss.
British, bring in.
I'm actually really
my one British guy I know.
British. Yeah, but anyway.
I'm actually really curious what Seven Seas is going to do with Matsuri, because this whole British thing is definitely a very Zune change and decision. So I'm real curious what the Seven Seas is going to do. But granted, it's going to be like 5 more years until we get to Matsuri in the Seven Seas translation.
To me, it's hard for me to even imagine her not be, because like she is from England, right?
Her mom is English.
Yes.
Oh, right. So she was born in Japan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
But she does speak in a specific sort of dialect.
Yeah.
So
according to Tuesday's note, it's a dialect that's like, it doesn't exist in real life. It's mostly like in fiction. So it's kind of like that transatlantic voice that we hear in like fantasy a lot that doesn't really exist in real life. It's only found in fiction, and they just made her British because she said, my mom's British. That's literally the only reason why Zune made it that way. And so they said, okay,
that would be so strange.
Yeah, so her mom's half British, and we're just going to make her like the super stereotypical British person just because it's so fictional.
Interesting. I think they mentioned it was something like a old stereotype for like working class sort of like.
Yeah, that's what they said.
Like
so like, is she supposed to sound
like,
very like, I just got out of the mines?
Yeah, kind of like, like a very stereotype, very working class kind of like, spitting on the ground for like, I mean, like the way Matsuri typically carries herself, very arms crossed, like very like proud, but very strong or protective.
She's like she's the girl with like the most personality, I'll say.
Yeah, so much grit. Like I remember like loving that introduction chapter because it really just show what this girl is all about in a very clear, distinctive way. Like, I remember during our intro
and.
Or
what Rentaro describes her as, like in the first set of Flirty Daily Life, is she is a girl of contrast. Like she dresses as this frilly outfit and all this, but no, she's borderline a tomboy, and she's the rough and tumble type, as Rentaro describes her as. Like she's ready to fight, and she has like this very loud, boisterous personality, which doesn't match how she dresses, and that's just kind of the fun thing about her. Speaking of panels that like stick with me, kind of like that Himeka one, one panel or line that lives rent-free in my head is the whole in her introduction to the family. I can't remember who said it, but it's like, oh look, we got another proper young lady with us, and she's like, nah, where are you getting that chuff from? It's like I don't know why that line just sticks with me. It's like, nah, where are you getting that chuff like from, eh?
I am wondering, for the official translation, like I'd be sad if they totally got rid of the British, but I wouldn't mind if they toned it down a touch, I guess. The fact that not everything has to be you what? Oh god.
Like the fact that the letter H doesn't exist for Matsuri, like
yeah.
God, and this is why we need the anime, because I want to know what her fucking voice is gonna sound like.
The dub seems to love the Zune translations because they've taken a lot from the Zune translation. So I wouldn't be surprised if they made her British.
Fuck yeah. Well, anyway, with her, as of for a while, I've kind of seen her as a much weaker character, and it feels to me like you can boil down her character to two things, which is being British and liking festivals. But now you're telling me, right? I always forget about that the British choice, like that her talking like that, is very Zune. So then remove that, I guess, and she's just likes festivals girl, right?
I don't know. I mean, like, I think there's a lot
sure there's more,
within that, like festivals. I mean, I remember, because like I said, like that first chapter really did showcase a lot of very distinctive, sort of like. I remember just being impressed by like her willingness to drop everything to help that lost kid kind of thing. And like, I mean, the kid was obviously like scared because they're lost, and very sort of like, I guess like elegantly sort of like, gave him a toy to sort of help him calm down while they look for its parents and that kind of thing. And
but is being nice a character trait?
No, it's not just nice. Like it's a very specific kind of nice. Like she's she's nice in the way of like, this gruff blue collar worker sort of person who's like,
I see.
They'll take their shirt off their back and give it to you kind of thing.
I wasn't looking at it through the right framework. That's always what it is.
I mean, like the fact that she's, I don't think she would normally wear like those frilly ass, gothical Leah things for her, but she does it because, her parents made it for her and she loves her parents and she loves the things they gave her. She's proud of the gothical Leah thing. And, like that's also a very strong character. Little moment. Like what I say is they're not a lot of like really like in your face kind of like characterization moments, but there's a lot of little things there that really paint a very specific picture. If you're paying attention.
No, it's okay. You can shit on me. It's fine.
Yeah, if you're paying attention, you'll see.
If you're paying attention, read the manga.
I remember just mentioning this gushing over just her character designs because a really interesting combination of traits to see in it was basically like I guess a lolly sort of character. I mean, like she has the kind of like, especially like facial with like her like sort of like a downturned like eye shape, but then the juxtaposition between that, her like very, very aggressive, confident eyebrows. Like that's a combination you often see more like sort of like, sort of military characters in anime, sort of like ex-military kind of thing, which, that kind of plays into a sort of like more blue-collar, rough and tough, gritty sort of character that is Matsuri. Like, it's a very interesting juxtaposition between this very frilly sort of girl, like looks-wise and personality-wise. She's like a fucking like, she's like your like.
She's ready to start a fight, like at a drop of a hat.
Yeah, like. Yeah, and she's not just, she doesn't just fight for the hell of it. Like, I remember one of the daily lives where they had her and Himeka together, like how pissed she got that people were, saying shit about Himeka online, and then very much sort of came to Himeka's defense, even though she's like, no, it's fine, I'll let, and that's totally normal for a celebrity such as myself. But Himeka or Matsuri she couldn't let that shit stand. She couldn't let them be talking shit about her sister wives. She had to like shout into the phone, even though obviously
going on along that line, she also is very. It's hard to describe, but it seems like she's also one of the characters or one of the girlfriends who seems very protective, and I don't want to say showboat, but like she gets real defensive and cares about like the family dynamic of the like she's protective of it, like shit, going after the defense for Himeka, or with her Saki chapter, the way she says, what's the line? It's like, I don't use the honorific stuff here with the family. That just shows me that she takes this family thing, this French royal family thing, very seriously. And I don't know if they're all like that, but she's definitely the most outspoken about it. Kind of like Usuri in a way. Like, she also is very like, I love this whole dynamic Rentero's family polycule thing. I'm going to be outspoken about it. Like, she feels like one of those characters who also will say that.
I like thinking about that. I'd never considered that. Like, which girls are a little bit more, other than like the moment where Kishka is a little like, I don't want to talk about it publicly, but yeah, I do like thinking about like which girls were like instantly down with this pretty out there multi-person, like 10, 20, 30 person polycule idea, and which ones were more like, ooh, I like it, but I'm gonna stay quiet about it.
Yeah, and Matsuri definitely seems like one of the ones that's louder about it, and she's protective, and she's. Even though she's not big sister energy, she still feels like, I'm going to protect it, and I'm going to protect this thing that I have. Because her first chapter focus after her introduction was that festival thing. And here she is like, I love all these girls and their quirks, and it's like I almost lost them, and now it's like I have them back. It's like, oh man, I love you guys.
That was a crazy chapter.
I think a lot of her being so vocal about like her love of that comes from, like you said, her character is so like willing to start a fight at the drop of the hat. She strikes me as someone who is very like confident in all of her beliefs.
Yeah,
if she believes something, she thinks the world should believe it. Essentially,
basically, yeah.
Yeah, like I remember she mentions something like, I can't remember what daily life it was, but she mentioned something like she's the kind of person, if she's gonna do something, she's gonna do it.
Oh yeah,
all the way.
There's no,
the swim trunks thing. Yeah, it's like I'm gonna do it hard.
Yeah, it's like you review this series professionally or something. What the fuck?
Yeah, I mean it does make sense. Like I mean she's someone who's been at the forefront of festivals and the like since she was a kid. So, I mean I'm sure she has seen her fair share of like ne'er-do-wells trying to do shit.
Those books.
You could also read that from another direction where like because she's constantly doing festivals, she's probably used to constantly having that festival persona, right? If you're running a stall, you're doing the like step right up, so I would imagine she's very used to like being loud and boisterous and
So I mean, I'm sure the Rentaro family's like, oh, this is just. I mean, like, I'm pretty sure Rentaro gets her to go along with it because he convinces her, like, love is like a festival, and that. I mean, I'm sure that's how she sees this whole Rentaro thing. Like, this is the one big festival that we're having till death do us part, basically.
Yeah, and her intro is super cool because, like, I will never forget, Rentaro kind of missteps. There's that moment where
he was too.
Well, she called him out. She was like, "You're not here for the love of the game. You're not here for the love of it. You're just a guy trying to get with a girl. You're not really here for the festival." And he's like, "Oh my god, fuck." You're right.
One of the rare Rentaro elves.
It's a great moment where and I love that, right? Because you guys are like actively convinced, like raising her letter rank for me in real time right now. This is crazy. Yeah, because she was the recent dynamic I've really enjoyed with her and Saki, with Saki wanting all the younger ones to call her senpai, and most of them are like willing to like, okay, we'll placate you on that one, I guess. But Matsuri is like, no, like I said, I don't fuck with the honorifics in the family.
I don't do that shit.
And like, so their chapter where they go to the fucking like weird foot massage floor with Yaku, loved it.
Yeah, I was gonna bring that up. Like that's how we show.
Yeah,
that's the perfect chapter where we say that when she believes in something, she's gonna stick to it, and she even admired Saki's like dedication to be like, no, I respect the elderly. So she's calling her out like, hey, you have your ideals and you stuck to them, so good on you. And she was also the one that is sticking to her own ideals, like, nah, I'm still not calling you senpai.
Yeah, and now we see that that's a friendship that's blooming, right?
It's a frenemy
baby
thing.
chapter. They're fucking throwing hands.
I want more frenemies within the family.
Yeah, and I guess one last thing, like check out the Matsuri channel. I point out a little scene from the Infinity God Festival where it's like this is where like at the beginning of the chapter before things go crazy. Where like Matsuri's just kind of like helping all the girls like enjoy the festival.
Because she's an ace at all the festival games.
Yeah. This is just like I don't know. I guess it just kind of speaks to that. What I was talking about. Just like it's a very like.
It's almost big sister energy.
Yeah. Really. It's surprisingly like for being such a
one of the youngest.
Yeah. I mean, it's just that contrast between she has that very.
I do like that. I always forget that she's like the second youngest, essentially after Chio, right? I mean, are they the same age?
They're probably roughly around the same age.
Yeah, that's crazy to think about. Potatoes is crazy, man. Like Armad, you just sent that, and he's instantly like. Oh wow.
Yeah. And I definitely consider Matsuri to be a very interesting character. I mean, honestly, I'd be fine if she doesn't really get any much character development. I mean,
she has personality. she has multiple layers too, where she doesn't need much more.
Yeah, basically, he's a very character dense.
You guys fucking convinced me, man. I
C tier. I'm not.
Oh really?
I'm not sure if I would.
I was thinking of being a little bold and doing this. I'm fine with that.
Let me think.
I'm still thinking Ms. Natty's still a little too high here.
I would have had her in C probably, but all the talking moved her up to B. And Rios, where are you at, Rios? But in your personal tier list, would she still be like C, or like, where would she be?
Oh no, it'd definitely be up higher now because I like I said, like everything I said about her is stuff that I believed back then. So I'm not sure why the hell I had her in C tier.
It's crazy how often they change, man. I see my OG tier list, and I'm like, I had Carne in like low B in my OG tier list, man. I was a fucking
I think I'd put her Himeka level.
Let me look at all the girls in. I'd put her, as much as I don't want to split them up, I think she's right between Uto and Kiki. That's me personally.
I mean, yeah, I did.
But I mean, it's up to you guys.
I did mention I did feel like
I kind of almost, after all that talking, I'm almost kind of like Miss Natty.
I'll go with Moonlight in this one. I put her in high B.
Because like rethinking about it, Miss Natty doesn't have that much going on. Kishka's a little bit flanderized. I almost want to like knock these two down.
I feel comfortable sort of putting Natty and Kishka below Himeka and Uto.
You know what? I mean, I'm not gonna complain. Uto's going up. I'll take it.
Yeah.
Until Miss Natty gets that like great big chapter of hers that really gives her something.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't think she needs to be this high.
Drunk Natty is holding her up with like toothpicks right now.
Yeah, poor Momoha. Like her thing is being drunk, and she can't even beat out the semi like rare drunk one.
Oh man,
it's Usa-chan time.
Oh, so now we're hitting where Moonlight was reviewing.
Yeah,
right? I'm gonna let you start Moonlight. This is your girl.
It's interesting because like I really do like her. I like her design. I think she has a really interesting and unique design, like being so tall, having this almost goth-like design, but it's like
I love how tall she is.
Yeah, I know. She's like the second tallest. Yeah. But she has this like really interesting, almost all black design, but yet it's highlighted with pink. She has like those rabbits stuffed in her pockets, and also she has a very interesting quirk to her. But at the same time, she's also kind of fading into the background a bit, and she's kind of getting flanderized. She hasn't had that development. She did have the one development with Mimi, but it didn't change anything about her. Okay, maybe she's a bit more relaxed in the family because she said she was worried about getting kicked out. So maybe she's like less worried about. So it is a little bit of change, but I still don't think she's like a very high tier. It's a personal favorite, but I don't think she's a very high tier character.
Right. She's in one of those characters where what I think about most with her, similar to like Kurumi, is her dynamic with the family.
Yeah.
I really like these girls that have like a specific problem that would be really rough to deal with alone, but because they're in this very unique situation of a 30-plus person polycule, they're actually able to kind of be placated and like their desires are a little abated, right? Because they're able to, they have this absurd level of support. Right? So with her, I mean, like, she needs it. She fucking needs it. It's like a medical thing. She will die.
As someone said in the comments, like, this is a girl literally made to be in a harem.
Yeah. Exactly. Yes, and which is so funny because, like, you know, she seeked it out, right? Remind me of her intro chapter. Did she, like, say, like, did she just see them meeting up and she wanted to be a part of it? Or, like,
all she said was, one day I came across this family and learning about it, like, I realize like, oh wait, this is exactly what I want.
He saw that shit. She saw them meeting on the roof
one day.
She saw them on the street.
She saw them on the street. I'm guessing they were like walking to school one day, like as they usually do. They're all walking in this giant group, and she's like, "Wait, what is this giant group of people?"
He says like, "Yes, so I learned about you from watching you day after day, all your names, your characteristics, and what you have with Rintaro." Like, she was like a freaking like obsessed stalker.
She was, you know, it would be fucking awesome if you could go back into previous chapters and see her in the background.
They did do that in the volume extra, which was funny because that whole chapter was about them having these glasses that took pictures. You see a picture of them getting all those glasses, and there she is in the background.
I mean, for me, the biggest thing that sticks out is just her intro chapter was just crazy.
It's probably the best intro chapter.
Yeah,
in terms.
Good place to start for you, Mr. Moon.
Yeah, very interesting. Like that's where she goes up in personal list, but I can realistically say that she's just skimming the line of Flanderization.
Yeah, it's like if we do like a graph of like her character, and she's like real big spike at the beginning, and it's kind of been
she's had a very strong start, and she's just been and then she had that little bit of bump with her Mimi chapter, and then ever since then she's just been kind of just riding this little she's there.
She's someone that I could imagine in like previously maybe tried out a normal traditional one-on-one relationship. I just like this. I like that idea that like she tried normal relationships or like traditional relationships, and then finally like that's when she sees this like big walking, and it's pretty clear that it's romantic in nature and not just like a friend to hang out, and she's like, that I didn't even know that had a word. She's like googling it. Polycule, that's an option. Fuck yeah.
I would love to see that.
Yeah. So.
But I was gonna say I would love to see some chapters of some girls like dating before Rentaro. I would love to see that.
Yes, we need to see at least other than Yaku and Haru. We need to see, please. Nakamura.
It seems like Nakamura is like It seems like Nakamura is purposely making this a thing where these are such outcasts of society that this is their first relationship outside of Yaku and Hahari. Because even like Momoha and Natty, who are like the other adults, are like, yeah, this is my first boyfriend boyfriend.
Crazy is someone like Momoha has never even kissed another person before. Like, God.
Is the idea that, like, because of the soulmate system that works in the world, is none of them have ever had that, like, spark before, basically? Is
no,
that,
I think
like, the idea?
I think the spark is supposed to be for your true soulmate, whereas Hahari probably never zinged with that kid,
she just had an unhealthy obsession.
It was just an unhealthy, regular relationship, which...
Actually, that's that's actually an interesting idea. Like, was Hahari's relationship, was that like a genuine soulmate thing, or was it just an unhealthy obsession? Like, just unhealthy?
Either way it was
an unhealthy obsession. Like,
I mean, he seemed to imply that it was very it doesn't happen often.
It's very rare.
Yeah, more than one.
Yeah, so it clearly there's this thing of you can live your life with perfectly happy with someone else, but they're not technically your soulmate.
It's not going to be perfect. Yeah.
Which really brings into an interesting topic of talking about Yaku. So Yaku lived this whole life being 89 years old with Kasuri's grandfather, but that wasn't her soulmate. It's kind of sad when you almost think about it in that regard.
Holy fuck!
Granted, they did seem to really. I mean, Yaku doesn't seem to have any regrets about it. I mean,
I do like that. That's a good way to look at it. I don't want to believe that.
I was gonna say that. I think that's what the love god meant by saying, like, the actual thing of a actual soulmate is rare. Like, there's probably plenty of people living their life happily with their spouse, but they're not technically their soulmate.
It ain't gonna transcend like a soulmate does. Yeah. Okay. Well. Yeah. So yeah. I mean, that's good. That maintains my headcanon intact of Usa trying dating. Well, I really do like to imagine Usa try, because let's be real. You're gonna tell me Usa hasn't tried to date with her obsession with needing someone else is to fuel this weird thing. So for her, letter-wise, what are we thinking?
That one's gonna be a little hard because I did have her in F tier, but that was based on the perspective of, like, we want to date these people, that kind of thing.
I could not handle the constant texting and all that. Like, this is where I definitely draw the line of, like, a lot of these girlfriends, like, if these people were real and they were into me, sure, but Usa, no.
Yeah. I think I have to try to combine a bit of both. Character. I guess we are going character. That's so hard. They do need to be like two separate tier lists at this point.
It's like, we can make that for your channel, the tier list of, like, would we date this person?
That's what we need. Because they're more different than I thought. When I first started this series, I thought they'd be pretty similar, like how good of character and how much would I date them, but they're very different, actually. Usa, character-wise, I think she's really fascinating.
She is fascinating, but she's also very Flanders. So what if we was at, like, top of C?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking as well.
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
C is like the Flanderized tier.
Yeah, basically.
Part of me, and if you guys disagree, you can push back. I feel like maybe she deserves low B, but because I really do like her.
I do like her, and I'm okay with low B if we're okay with that.
Yeah.
Is she better than Hikari?
B's getting real full. Better than Hikari. Yeah, for me, Ali would kill me, but I think so.
I'm okay with putting Usa higher and higher.
Let me see. Is she better than Yamame? Yes or no? Right?
She has more personality than Yamame.
Okay, yes, I would agree. I would agree with having her above Yamame, but I'm not sure about above Hikari.
I don't think she goes above Hahari. Yeah, I think she's stops there.
Hahari has layers.
The only thing I gotta...
Oh, yeah, you said Hahari has layers.
Oh, yeah, I agree.
Like an onion.
Like an ogre.
Yeah.
Amazing. But yeah, I think this placement makes sense to me. And I'm glad at least Yamame's in B. I would never want her to slide down to C.
Yamame hasn't gone to the Flanderized yet of a C-list character. Yet.
She feels like a human at the very least.
Yes.
All right, Meru.
She's a living thing.
Oh.
So Meru, I just want to preface, I have the same kind of thing with Rin, where there's this obsession in the community for Meru, which I just do not get.
I mean, they're both kind of like, like...
People like weird faces, first of all.
Yeah,
that's definitely a layer.
Yeah, I do think Dee and Rin, they do have sort of a similar... Like, they're kind of like, I don't know, like weird girls, I guess. I'm not sure. Weird, not the most accurate, precise term for it, but I do think there's something there that I kind of like...
Let me try to jump in, I guess. For me, I think she's one of the two best girls in the past, like, 5. Her and Nemu. And I always fucking almost mix up their names because Meru, Nemu. But like, I don't know. So one, I like characters where I really feel like I get them, like, instantly, right? And I instantly get her thing. Like, okay, she essentially is like uber. We were talking about Tama earlier. Like, oh, is she depressed? We don't know. Meru, we know. Meru, it's like, okay, she is like chronically depressed, which, same girl. And then she kind of found her, like, light in the tunnel with writing, which is like super relatable to a lot. I have a lot of writer friends. Yeah, so I mean, I get that, right? It's a dynamic that makes sense to me. It's a character motivation that makes sense. And I think that she's really immediately found her place in the family. Like, I love that she's like the fourth wall breaker now, among fourth wall breakers. The ability to come out and explain terms. I like her face a lot. I like her design a lot. And the goober element, Rios, I pass it over to you to define the goober element, please.
Yeah, I mean, I actually looked up like synonyms for weird, and like I think, a lot of ones I found, like they have both she and Rin. They kind of have this air of, like some people might call them creepy. Some people might say they're spooky, freaky. Like I mean that's definitely part of the appeal. I mean, like they both have sort of a different take on that sort of thing. But I mean, I think that is kind of the appeal. I think anyone who's seen like the Momo like statue that was all the rage years back on YouTube, like they can recognize like her face is basically just the Momo statue face, like to a T. And it's like, I don't know. I mean, like there's something to that thing about a girlfriend who's kind of creepy, but I mean, he's just
much like pain and pleasure are so close to each other. It's two sides of the same coin, right? I mean, like when you're like doing the deed, like a hard ass slap can sometimes elevate the feeling, right?
She's joined the ranks of like you don't notice it right at first, but she's very thirsty.
There was that line, Rios, the line you love.
Yes, I love it. It's like discussing it has a vocal craving.
It's a craving.
Let's do it. Like I love like the contrast between saying it, like the initial line where he says so flowery, but then she ends with "Let's do it." It's like
I love her. And then the other part I love so much about her, she's just so likable. Like, is when they're laying in the park and she just keeps like laying on him more and more, and she's like, now I'm fully connected with you. Yeah, I guess she gives the air to me of someone who I could talk to forever. Like I feel like you could have really deep conversations with her about like books, stories, writing methods, the state of the world. I could talk some mean politics with her. We could talk about the slip, just the global slip into fascism together. Like there's a lot to do. So I just think she's honestly, and she feels super well rounded to me. She doesn't feel flanderized at all to me. I don't know if
whenever she's not the focus, she is a little bit flanderized, but when she actually has the time to be a character,
she has the mic.
Yeah, when she has the mic, it's really good.
Yeah. So for me, I think she's, like I said, of the last couple girlfriends, she's up there. Let me look at real quick. I think I'd have her maybe low A, to be honest with you. I really like her a lot. It's her and Nemu are my two favorites of the recent one.
Yeah, I had her high A. So that's probably
where
I keep her. I mean, maybe even S with Shizuka, since I mean Shizuka's probably lonely up there. And And
Don't worry,
to be fair, her and Mary's chapter was like, I mean that I think pretty much everyone who read that chapter was like, damn, this is peak.
Yeah, it was really good.
And that relationship, I mean, Meru's existence, Meru's placement in this family is actively developing other characters. I mean, she and her friendship with Shizuka is like elevating Shizuka to such a higher height. It's so cool to see the book nerd elevate to, I'm going to write my own stuff. And I'm so excited. I'm hoping to get more like little developments about that going forward. So, I mean, I really do think from every angle, Meru has impressed me. She's elevating other people. She has her own little inner relationships. She's a goober. She's thirsty in her own weird little goober way. Yeah. She has a clear character motivation and drive. Her design is very unique and like super recognizable. I loved her in that fucking panel with her being a anglerfish.
Yes.
Yeah, I like A. Did we all? I mean, well, so Moonlight, what would she be for you?
I was going more like in the B section, but you guys did talk me into a little bit higher, so I'm thinking like low A.
Yeah, I am totally fine with this. Oh man. So now we're getting into where we were reviewing. I think when we started reviewing, dude, I blanked on her name. Like we just talked about her. Meru. She had just been introduced. So now this was our first new girlfriend that we talked about.
I really like her, and I think I'm going to give my little spiel. It's not going to be as passionate as like my Mai speech or my Himeka speech, but I think I'm going to in the future going to be a Saki defender at some point. I think there is more to her, but at the current time, maybe it's just because she hasn't been around long enough and the way the series has been going so far, we're just not giving the recent girlfriends just as much time as I felt like they need to. So
yeah. And
her one solo outing with Matsuri was good, but it felt almost like a more Matsuri chapter than a Saki chapter in a way.
I agree. Which she desperately needed.
Yeah. So it was good for both of them, but I think it just leaned, like maybe 60-40 leaned more to Matsuri. But
I see it.
I don't know. I think she just has a very interesting quirk about her, but the problem is it's just been kind of flanderized to a point, but not so much as dilapidating, but to where it makes sense, where she is another girl failure. Like, we have so many girl failures here. I think there is just something to be said about this character who's putting, one, respect to elders to an nth degree interesting, but also the fact that whenever someone is younger than her, she goes, like, out of her way to be this, like, doting older person. Like, but what
like, almost slavish.
Yeah, so like the daily life we saw with Nemu, where she like literally just said, I'm just gonna carry you. You're like twice my size, but I'll still carry you because I'm older than you.
That's so good. So fucking her like legs dragging on the pavement.
Yeah.
So it's like, I think this is a very interesting dynamic way to make a character like this. I can't keep her low right now just because of where she is currently, but I feel like in the future, it's going to become another Himeka or my situation where I'm like, no, guys, you don't understand. This is peak.
You don't see what I see. I have the vision.
And I think she also has a really fun design, too. Like, I love the almost JoJo-inspired design.
Yeah.
Oh, I like her hair, too. It's very complex.
It has interesting texture to it. Like, Nozawa is using this one specific pattern for her hair, and she's not using it for anything else but Saki's hair, and I really like that.
Me too. Nozawa is excellent at, I mean, that was like one of the things that drew me to this series. As someone who, I'm really bad at, like, when depending on certain art styles, sometimes I can really be like, what character is this again? But I never have that issue with this series. It's very good. For Saki, yeah, I like her a lot. I do agree she needs more desperately. Intro chapter where she, was it intro or the second one? I can't remember, where she's like licking the shoes is crazy.
Family,
like that panel was nuts.
And Backtrack and I talked about this briefly in the Discord in Saki's Discord, where like that whole interaction with the alien was like the funniest thing ever.
Oh yeah,
he's like, I'm trying to figure out, am I respectful to you because you're older than me? I don't know.
Yeah. Did he ever find out? I don't remember.
No, I don't think so.
Poor thing.
Saki wasn't around long enough for them to determine that. Yeah. Once again, she's falling down into the path of like, she's here to make her one joke of like, I'm older than you, so I'm going to take care of you, or I need to respect you because you're older than me, and then she just kind of disappears.
Yeah, we're hitting that wall a bit where they're so new that I don't have much to say except for Nemu, because she is like this like miracle child. I don't know how she did it. We'll get it, but yeah, I guess Saki, I do think she's probably like
I want to say for somewhere in the C's, but here's the barometer again. Is she better or worse than mine?
I would have her below Mai.
Below Mai as well.
Yeah, because maybe
because I didn't.
Do we break up the ship of Mai and Momoha?
Let me think.
I mean, I would be,
you know what? I do kind of think she's better than Momoha though, because Momoha's gotten so nothing, like you said. Like, I mean, Momoha's been around longer, and she has like nothing.
All right, I like this.
Yeah, okay, I like it.
I definitely, I don't even have much to say about Saki myself. I mean, I do think. Her like new relationship with Matsuri is very interesting. I think there's probably a bit of jealousy there, because Matsuri kind of acts a lot like the sort of person I think Saki would want to be.
Yes.
Like, I mean, the way she commands.
I never thought about that.
The way she like commands the festival setting. I mean, that's very much like a sort of like big man on campus kind of energy. Like
multiple elements too, right? Yeah. It's like, one, you act like you're so old despite the fact that you're the youngest person here, which kind of breaks her whole ideology. And then two, she wants to be tough. She wants to be like, I can fight anyone and win, even though she got beat up by elementary schoolers.
Matsuri, he talks and walks. Like the only thing that was able to really like throw Matsuri for a loop was a literal deity of infinity. Like, I think Saki would have folded quite a bit. I mean, he would have literally be like, oh, you're a god? I'm going to worship you. So,
yeah! Oh my god, I never thought about it. Dude, there's a slight concern that Saki would be like the Judas of the 100 Girlfriends.
Oh my god, I would love that. It'd be very painful, but I would love to see that.
Oh wow, yeah. Like, we need a big dramatic arc where like we actually maybe are in danger of losing one, which I don't think they ever would though.
Because it's supposed to be a wholesome rom-com
where no one
would
loses.
never go there.
Yeah, I'd be fine with knowing that it's not. There's no possible way this is going to end poorly. I mean, I would want to see how we get. How we navigate this thing. I mean, that's very much like a sort of like big man on campus kind of energy. Like
multiple elements too, right? Yeah. It's like, one, you act like you're so old despite the fact that you're the youngest person here, which kind of breaks her whole ideology. And then two, she wants to be tough. She wants to be like, I can fight anyone and win, even though she got beat up by elementary schoolers.
Matsuri, he talks and walks. Like the only thing that was able to really like throw monster for a loop was a literal deity of infinity. Like, I think Saki would have folded quite a bit. I mean, he would have literally been like, "Oh, you're a god? I'm gonna worship you." So,
Yeah! Oh my god, I never thought about it. Oh wow. Yeah, like we need a big dramatic arc where like we actually maybe are in danger of losing one, which I don't think they ever would though, because
it's supposed to be a wholesome rom-com
where no one
would
loses.
never go there.
Yeah.
I'd be fine with knowing that it's not. There's no possible way it's gonna end poorly. I mean, I would want to see how we get, how we navigate the situation.
Yeah, give me some drama. It can end happy, but like let me sit with the drama. I want to go 10 chapters and the drama's still not resolved, and to the point where we're like, whoa, is this like permanent? And then like, just kidding, everything's fine now.
And this is the kind of thing you can do with a story that has
no clear structure.
No. Like, it has a decent chance of being like in excess of like 500, maybe even like 700 chapters. Like, you can do these kind of like crazy long fake outs, basically.
And he doesn't need to have a structure. Like, the structure is entirely self-imposed. He can do whatever the fuck he wants at this point. Like,
basically.
I also did want to mention quickly on Saki before we move on is I just find her dynamic as a boyfriend-girlfriend with Rentaro interesting, and I hope it kind of gets explored more, because the few interactions we've had between them now, with like when Rentaro said, "Hey, you want to go out with me?" and she's like, "Oh, sure, I'll humor you because you're my kohai and I'll go out with you." And then the other time was like, what was
what, they at the zoo or something?
Yeah, it's like, oh, I guess I gotta be a senpai. I gotta like, let's bring it in for a hug and all that, because I gotta be supportive. Like, I like this like dynamic that she's like almost self-imposing on herself. Like, yeah, I'm the girlfriend, but I'm the older, so I gotta like take charge and all that, even though she isn't, because she's so tiny and small and weak. So I find that.
I wonder if there'll be a moment where she's kind of like sick of being so fake. I don't know. Shows a bit of more of a real side to her.
Yeah, just like tone it down a little bit. But yeah, so
It's realize that real maturity is accepting who you are, or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah.
So I find that part interesting, and I'm really curious how she's gonna handle the proposal. Like, whenever the next group gets proposed to, like,
he's like, "I'm gonna be the groom."
Like, I guess I'll humor you by marrying you, sure.
Yeah. I have to be the groom, though, because traditionally, they're kind of like seen as like the dominant one.
You're taking my name, Rentaro?
Oh, yeah, Rentaro would.
I've also, it's just a weird thing, but I really like her name. I don't know what it is, but Saki Tomogara is just like such a cool name. I don't know what.
Flows off the tongue.
It rolls off the tongue really nicely.
To what Rios just said, I love the idea of, this feels like a joke that in this manga. I like the idea of Rentaro taking all of their.
Oh my god.
So his full name becomes like Rentaro, Hanazawa, I don't know enough of their last names. But it's just like all of them. Literally all of them. And you see like the marriage certificate with his full name listed, and it's like a huge fucking paper or like 100 pages.
That'd be funny.
That's great.
I've always been under the assumption that they would all be hyphenated because they want to differentiate themselves from everyone else. Like, they can't all be Aijo, so they got to be Hanazo no Aijo, Inda Aijo, and stuff like that. But no, that feels much more in character in the series, where no, he would just take all their names.
Yeah. I love your names. I don't want you to change your names. I'll do it. God,
lovely.
So
all right, so
segue to just put her in triple S. Let's go.
Speaking of names that I don't like,
Nemu
Nemui.
Did you say speaking of what now?
I was gonna say speaking of names that I don't like.
The name is a little goofy.
So I mean, I don't know how you guys feel. I'm hoping that, I think she's literally, she's probably my favorite since. Oh God,
she's definitely
Tama, maybe. Tama was like an instant S for me. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, out of the last like 5, I'd say since Usa-chan, I think she's probably my favorite. She has a strong start, but so here's the meat of the discussion for Nemu for me and I even brought this up in my videos. It's just this character change or development in such a short amount of time. Like, we've always been complaining we're not developing these characters; they're not changing in any kind of way. And yet here's Nemu going from her introduction to one daily life to a follow-up chapter, and now she's got a whole new level to her.
It was crazy. I remember reviewing this manga during that daily life where we got the little snippet of her on the roller coaster. I had this long-ass rant about, like, oh my god, this could lead into this, and this could lead into this.
It actually happened.
I predicted the Rin horror movie thing. I was like, oh my god, she'll be really good friends with Rin because she's an adrenaline junkie now. She needs, and then literally the next chapter, she's like, yeah, so he took me on a roller coaster, and I'm like, this is crazy. This never happens.
Also, like the first time a regular chapter has referenced the daily life.
Bro, and Nakamura was cooking. He had like the fucking sticky notes on the wall and shit. He was like, yeah, I know what I'm doing now. Yeah, I mean, she just feels like she's getting so much. I mean, it's pretty obvious when the author has favorites, right? I just feel like she's getting so much attention, so much love instantly. And like, again, because it really did feel like when she was introduced, I liked her, but she was hovering in that average tier.
I felt like, oh, this is what her joke is gonna. I think I even said this in my videos. It feels like her whole shtick is gonna be something crazy is going on the rooftop, and then Nemu's gonna be sleeping in the corner over there.
Yes, and then all they did, they sprinkled on that extra layer, also an adrenaline junkie. I was like, oh my god.
We like learned it, and we discovered along with her that she's an adrenaline junkie. It's not like it was something she was hiding. She discovered it in the chapters that we were reading.
That's such a good point. That's lovely. Like that wasn't an initial thing that like happened in real time. That's so unique. Also, yes, Riot, thank you for mentioning Salt Bay, Rios, because I literally did that motion to myself in my room when I said that. But yeah, I mean, she's just fucking great. She's perfect. I'm so excited to see her every single time she shows up. She's tall.
She does not look like any middle schooler I've ever seen.
Yeah.
She's the tallest middle schooler right after the shortest high schooler.
Which is something...
That's probably intentional, right? Like,
oh yeah, have you guys ever seen that idea where the cover girls are always like opposites in some kind of way? You ever seen that theory?
I've seen that.
That would make sense for good artistic flow.
Which
right?
It's interesting. Like, okay, so what's the opposite of Hasuha? We can start getting like hints of what the next girlfriend would be.
Yeah.
I want she looks like a little dog. Give me like a kind of more adult, like adult, mature looking. That's
please, another adult, please. Another working.
No, here's how you do it. You have this dog who is pretty much acting like a police dog. You get an actual police officer.
And a cop. Ooh. Cop time.
Adult cop. Let's go.
Or an adult criminal.
Honestly, you mentioned Shizuka's being lonely. I would be okay with that.
I mean, I agree with everything that's been said about Nemu.
But she's not. She's not S though.
Really.
So you deny us a triple S? No, hold on, wait a minute. She can still be an S. If you and I think it's S, Moonlight, but he doesn't. That's still S. That's still regular
S. Yeah.
Go ahead, Rios. Give me your take. I want to hear your take.
I don't know. I just don't really have like a take on her. I guess. I mean, yeah, like she is definitely one of the best examples of like character. Sort of like, I mean, how character can be done in the series. Like, I mean, yeah, I love getting the see on the page the character developing, and I mean, I don't know why, because I mean, even her like, fashion character design is great. I mean, and the freaking like almost Ahegao-esque phases you make when she passes out from exhaustion. They are a kind of a treat every once in a while. I mean,
you're being like, oh fuck, this theater seat is so comfy.
Yeah.
You know.
By the way, another reason I love her, I've said this before, she completed the trifecta of girls that I can use to describe Allie. Allie is Kurumi, Nemu, and Hikari. The perfect.
She was like the Triforce, or like the final piece of the puzzle. Well, I realized we didn't mention her girlfriend introduction chapter was pretty crazy, honestly. Like everyone
almost kills herself.
Yeah.
Oh, that one. I'm sorry. Yeah, I love that one. Genuinely,
that was actually really good. Yeah.
We get canonical how everyone would react to Rentero's death. Like that's what I took away from that. I was like, here it is.
I mean, Nemu basically saved the day by getting everyone to kiss Ren. Yeah. So I mean,
I gotta cook with one more thing whenever you're done. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm fine with S.
If we don't want to do S, I would say something like this.
I wanted to say as well something, and this is probably one of my favorite conversations we've ever had in any of our reviews. Rios is the one where I'm kind of talking about. I in real time I discovered like a cool parallel where like her family believes in these like elves, mystical elves that like come out and like help you while you're asleep. But what she doesn't realize is that she is that elf for the polycule now. Like anytime, and this is where I will never forget this. I said anytime there's some sort of sleep event, and then Rios was like, oh, the often occurring sleep event. But yeah, anytime, I don't know, there's like something that's like where they're all asleep, and like if there's any danger, she's like this like guardian angel for the family now. She is the helper elf that she always believed in.
Like, can you think of any other girlfriend who has like this much of like a
a split
if you run into
personality?
this sort of problem, yeah, like if you run into if the family ever runs into this sort of problem, this is the girlfriend you go to yourself. Like, I can't. Really think, I guess Kusuri's kind of
Kusuri,
just all
Eira,
around
maybe
happy, but-
Matsuri. They all seem
Yeah.
like people who would step up.
Nemu is one of the first girl in a while where like it just feels like she has this perfect like slot that she fits into in the family, and it's like she's like this little like sleep guardian angel thing for when there's I don't know, she's like a and she has a dream catcher like in her hair, right? People have mentioned
Yeah.
that it looks like kind of like a dream catcher, and so like yeah, she just kind of feels like the like a guardian angel that makes sure bad things don't get them while they're sleeping. Right? Like if they, it's cute. I can imagine a situation where they're all living in their like either it's a gigantic mansion they're all living in, or they have like a nice little like commune, like like street, a whole block that they've purchased essentially. I could see everyone's asleep, but while everyone's asleep, like she is essentially like guard dog patrolling the house. So like everyone's asleep, a fucking like a robber breaks into the house and she just beats his fucking ass. And, like they wake up and they're like, "Why is this window broken?" It's like, I don't know.
Yeah, let's check out the security cams and we
Nemu just fucking like professional WWE wrestling moves.
he's going all like John Wick on their ass.
Yeah, please. Oh yeah, honestly, don't give a sleep Nemu access to a gun because she's probably gonna somehow like perfectly know how to use it. She reloads it like super professionally.
Like I've never used a gun before. Like they mentioned that in the first half of that scene. Like, I've never used a gun before. Yeah.
So yeah, she's just, look at how much we can talk. She's so she has so much shit. She has more development than like probably 40% of the girls that she's just introduced.
And I will say though, this S ranking for me is only because of that. Like 10 girlfriends from now and 100 chapters later, she might be lower just because we got all this development of her, and then she hasn't. She doesn't really get much beyond that, so she might be lower. But as of right now, where she is sitting, just the fact that she's been utilized so well is just we got to put her in S tier. But she might be a B a couple of years from now.
Yeah, we just gotta hope
she continues. Part 3 of this one.
I think this could be a good yearly thing. I think a yearly update on the.
That's what was my original plan before I had to take down my other tier list. And the last one.
Is it Sniffy Sniff?
All right. Just like I said in the part 1, she sniffs, so she's good. A.
Yeah.
Yes, you remembered.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. What to say?
That's the problem. Is
why don't you start?
Unlike Nemu, she got shafted pretty much. She got her intro, which were good. They were good. It was a good intro. It was interesting because it was like a whole mystery and there was other characters involved that wasn't the family. So it's a really good introduction chapter. It was a pretty good meet the family chapter too. I just like this whole like going through everybody. It's still probably the funniest thing. I forgot to bring this up with Matsuri, but we need to talk about Matsuri and how Hikari has corrupted her.
Oh my god, yeah.
Yes!
From that first daily life where Matsuri got like, no, I'm too young for that.
I'm not ready for this conversation.
Yeah, Matsuri is weirdly uncomfortable with romantic stuff. So,
well, I think that's in line with her like tough girl attitude, right?
She doesn't know how. She doesn't know how. Like when you're at a festival, you don't do romantic things.
And then
that is objectively untrue.
Like when you're running a festival. I think she was like a festival goer, but she's there trying to make sure everyone has a good time. She can't be distracted with
a really bad time to kiss your lover is right after you just got done making a bunch of noodles. You're probably like really sweaty, like all the oil is like kind of speckled onto your face and shit.
Of course, Rentaro would. He wouldn't keep more
lick that oil word up, girl.
But going back to what I was saying at Matsuri, like we saw like the next level of corruption with how she was like cuddling up on his swim trunks. Like, no, you're better than this, Matsuri. Don't be a degenerate.
Yeah.
And then
I think that's unfortunately for you. The arc for all the girls is to embrace their inner degenerate.
Degenerates if they aren't already one.
Yes.
And then,
well, they're already flouting
this is an interesting arc because, like, the story was initially way more ecchi, but then it became a little bit more basically family friendly. But then for it to go back around and start to become more ecchi,
that'd be great. Yeah. By the time we're in 2050, that's what we're gonna need the most is more as a degenerate series to fuel that in humanity. But yeah, I mean,
and then just to finish up, what I really liked about Hasuha's introduction to the family was when Nemu was like, "Yeah, you're like." The smell is on your face, and she just has like these dead eyes. Like, oh no!
Yeah, that was great.
I need that as an emote. I love that face so much. But yeah, unfortunately, with Hasuha, after that introduction, she's just been shafted to daily life and her one chapter, which it was a good focus, but it just wasn't that interesting. It didn't really do much for her.
it felt really
tip
like
of the iceberg.
it felt like really diet focused chapter, because even her like, you know, because that was I was desperately in need of like a little bit of a backstory, and we got it, but it was like 2 panels, right? I mean, it was very
it was
tight.
simple.
the
And
chapter,
what's also interesting is that that's where they give her intro. Usually they save those kind of stories for the volume extras. So now I'm curious what her volume extra is going to be once we get there.
That could be formative. That could be life changing. Yeah, I mean, I have to say, like, because I had an interesting interaction with her character, you know, so her intro chapter, I was very excited because I'm actually pro degeneracy. I'm very pro degeneracy.
She's a new addition to the degenerate pile.
It was so good. I mean, like, the chapter ending with her being like, "Whip the pitties out." I was like, "Oh my god, she's one of us." I fucking love that. That's great. I need more of that energy. But another thing that fascinated me, and I don't know if it's going to go anywhere. I remember Tease Day specifically had a comment where they were trying to shut me down hardcore. They were like, "I think you're overthinking it. I think it's just a comedy, played for comedy." And I was like, "Well, but like, to me, it seemed like Rentaro was a little uncomfortable with her at the end of the introduction to the family chapter, where like she was like ripping away his trunks, and he's like, "Okay, please stop now." And I'm sure that's
it's played up for last because it's played up for last because it's played up like a dog not letting go of something.
Yeah.
That's pretty much what it was.
Yeah,
it's like when you want to take the ball away from the dog, and you're like, "Oh no, I want to throw this ball for you for fetch," but you're not letting go of the ball. It's like it's kind of that kind of thing.
I think also a bit of energy of like that sort of joke that sometimes where like the boy is like the Kia type of person, where, like they'll get walked in on it, and the boy will have the girl
baby girl as fuck.
Yeah. There's definitely a lot going on there.
I wonder if you guys see any potential but like for me, it felt as though Rentaro was a little uncomfortable with her thing, right? Which is like has happened before, but then he kind of comes around. I feel like there's a concern there for like a healthy relationship. She's super into this sniffing thing, but every time it happens, Rentro's kind of like genuinely uncomfortable about it. It felt like genuine uncomfortable.
It feels like it's in the same realm as the way Hikari is always kind of like, "Here, touch my tits," or "Here's my tits," like leaning up against you, and he's uncomfortable with that. So I think it's kind of in that same
like,
realm. Really good at dealing with that, right? He deals with that in such a suave way now. I need to see that him develop a way to deal with Hasu, I guess.
Well,
right?
I mean, we kind of saw that with the 30 daily life that she was in, because he didn't mind that he was sniffing her when they were all pressed up against one another. He didn't mind that so much.
I guess he didn't have much of a choice.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Yeah, no, I would like what you just said there, Rios. Like if he had like something on him, like, okay, well, rather than sniff me, here's some potpourri.
Here's some perfume based on my sweat.
Yeah, okay. I had this developed. Kusari developed this in the lab. He took my sweat, like multiplied it.
But unfortunately, just Hasuha just had an unfortunate volume so far, where she had a really pretty strong introduction, and then she just got hit with a volume of just like we got hit with daily life, flirty daily life, and then a aquarium chapter where she didn't say anything, and then a baby chapter. So it's like it was just super unfortunate for her to get any kind of development. And then, like you said, it was like a diet focus chapter for her. So here's hoping that she gets something in the next volume or so.
Desperate. I'm curious to see more of. I don't know. I want to see how the relationship works. I want to see a full date chapter. That is something.
We haven't
done like a full date chapter in a while.
Yeah.
I need just Rentaro and Hasu, and I need to know, because this is the thing for me, right? Is like, can she be human? Can she put away the smell thing for a second?
Can you introduce her to your family?
Yeah, can she pass the test?
I smell someone like you just had you had constipation last night or something. like kick her out right now.
I mean,
exactly right. Is she able to go through? Can we take her to like a nice restaurant? And see, this is the test, right? Let's say we go to a nice restaurant. If she's like standing up on the table, like sniffing, like, "Oh my god, it smells," but that would be bad. But if I go to a restaurant with her and she's normal about it, and she's like, "Oh, it smells amazing in here," and Rentro's like, "God, I wish I could smell things as well as you do," and she's like, "Yes, it's so nice," and just the ability to be normal about it, like it's like a passion, but it's not like an obsession, and it can be an obsession when she's alone. But I need to see that she can be in public and have things to her other than the smell thing, right? So that's what
we did kind of see that in our focus chapter with Yamame and Iku, where she developed this whole thing of like, she almost feels like she's going to be another one of the protectors of the family, because she thought that someone was dissing Iku and Yamame, and she's like, no, I have these friends now, this family now. I want to make clear their name. So she
reminded me a bit of Matsuri, by the way, that energy.
She got this, like, she has this protective energy now. It's like, no, I'm going to protect with this thing that I have
like
now.
A dog.
Yeah. Like a dog.
These people that accept me. These people that accept me, I'm going to protect them now.
Yeah, I think I'm a little concerned that I don't want her whole character, like, basically, I don't want every interaction she has to feel like it has to be through the lens of, like, I'm a detective and I'm solving the case, right? Like, that would get a little old to me, I think, if every single, through this, like, I don't know, idea of, like, it's a clue.
If it's done because he's just uncomfortable being, like, a normal person because he thinks they're going to look down on her, that could be an interesting way of handling it. But yeah, I mean, he's just the... Like,
she can go either way. She can either become an interesting character, or she's going to get very Flanderized.
Yeah. She's basically the biggest victim of, like, he's the newest girl. We don't have that much to say about it. She has the most potential, but we haven't really seen...
So I'm thinking somewhere in C somewhere.
Yeah, well, I'm in a weird place with her because I was swept away by the whip your pitties out. Love that energy. But I don't think I like the detective element. I'll be honest with you. But obviously she has to have something more than just smell. I'm not just saying just be the smell girl. But, like, I don't know. I'm worried that the detective thing, because honestly, there's characters like this in a lot of different shows.
Honestly, I'm worried that the smell thing is going to become more of a thing than the detective thing. Almost like how Iku is more masochist than a baseball player.
That would be the worst outcome.
That is a concern for sure. But I guess my concern on top of that is even her other thing that's supposed to be three-dimensionaling her, I don't really like, right? Like, the detective thing doesn't do a lot for me. It reminds me too much of, like, those characters in anime where their whole thing is like, yes, I am with my hyper-intelligent brain.
That's the problem, though, is, or not the problem, but, like, a different aspect to her.
Well, no, I know she's not actually
she's not smart at all.
But it's like, I guess that dynamic is a little boring. So I guess I just don't really like that dynamic. The fear again is that, like, she isn't going to be able to have, like, a normal conversation without, like, lacing it in this idea of, like, oh, I'm solving a mystery. It's like I don't know. It feels a little like she's constantly being performative.
There's potential there for that to be like Hasu. Everything is not a goddamn mystery. Just a regular date is not a mystery, Hasu.
Exactly.
There's potential for that to. I mean, like I said,
it's interesting that you have
make her realize.
It's interesting that you have that fear, because I feared it's just going to lean more into the degenerate sniffing, and that's all she's going to be. Like, the detective thing is just going to be rarely brought up because it's so specific of, like, how to write around that. And so I feel like Nakamura's going to lean more into the sniffing thing if they don't develop her any kind of more. So
I guess the connecting fears that we were both afraid that one aspect of her character was going to become
Flanderized,
like the only thing.
Well, let me clarify a little, because I don't disagree with what you're saying, Moonlight. I also agree that it would be bad if they only did the sniff thing. I just don't really like the detective thing is the problem. Like, as of now, we'll see how it's done, but I guess I just don't find that very interesting, which is rough for me, because I'm like, oh, like, we're in a bad situation, because I don't think it would be better with the detective thing, because that annoys me.
I'm not like a big fan on it either. I think that's more along because they made her a dumb detective. Like, if she was actually, like, mildly smarter than the average girlfriend, I think it might be slightly better. But no, the fact that she's also dumb as a bag of bricks, that lowers the detective.
It's giving slight Suu energy, isn't it?
Actually, it's like, it's like you expect, like, just like Sue is like, you're in the numbers, so I expect you to be good at math. No, I'm terrible at math. You're in the detectiving, so I expect you to be good at, like,
deducing.
Like, no, I just smell everything.
Which is a funny thing on I guess, okay, here's what I'll say. I thought of a good way to word this. A lot of the girls, I get their thing, and I can instantly imagine a bunch of scenarios, and like, oh, this seems like there's a lot of places you could go with this. With Hasu, it instantly feels very limited to me. I'm like, I don't really know. It's such a hyper-specific, like, obsessed with smelling, detective. It's like very, I don't know, it doesn't feel as, like, open-ended as a lot of the other girls. A lot of the other girls,
This might be the next Sue, but unlike Sue, where she's, like, grumpy about the world, at least Hasu has a positive attitude about the world and everything elsewhere, so at least she's better than that. But I do fear, it's such a shallow niche that it feels like it is going to be a Sue problem going forward, where it's just going to be this one specific thing that's going to constantly get brought up.
Yeah, I mean,
this is something that I was concerned of when I saw, thought of the concept of this show, though there's going to be 100 of them or whatever, and I was like, is he going to be able to resist the urge to get more and more hyper specific with what, because like, he's done a really good job at making these girls feel like they're real people. They have these like character traits that feel like actual character traits, but like you start to run the risk of like declaring detective as a character trait. It's like, that's not a character trait, it's an occupation, right? And it's like, so like we're getting to the point where it's becoming, that's how you Flanderize, when instead of a character trait, like, oh, this person's just kind of like this, and this is what like fuels their decisions in life, you start to define characters as like what they are. Like when people say, oh, I want an alien girl or a vampire girl, it's like, that wouldn't be a character trait. That's just like a dressing, window dressing, right? So it feels, her detective thing, I think, feels more like window dressing to me. Window dressing on top of the real thing, which is the smell thing.
I mean, it is, like, within the text it is. I mean, like, Hasu, I mean, he basically says that, like, we can sort of summarize it. She does the detective thing because it makes her feel clever.
Yeah, I was gonna bring that up.
The only reason she cares about that is because he feels like a dummy, and so that's
like
that's the most. Yeah,
it's not like she was like growing up thinking like, I love mysteries and all that. Like it was like a thing. It was kind of a thing that was thrust upon her by society, saying, well, she's dumb, but she found this one thing she's good at, and that's sniffing. And through logical deductions, is okay. Well, what can I do that I can do in life that I'm good at? And with sniffing, it's like, well, I can solve mysteries because of sniffing, and that's how she.
And let's compare that to like Uto. Oh, I'm sorry.
I was gonna say that's just how. So it's not like she grew up wanting to be a detective. It's just something that came about because of her place in society, I guess, if you want to call it.
I like that comparison because, like, let's compare that to Uto, right? With Uto, I fully believe that she just loves that bard aesthetic. I mean, we see the flashback with her as a kid, and she's crawling towards Ocarina of Time. Love that. And, so, like, to me, it's like, okay, that feels like my true self is this. Whereas, yeah, you're right. There's something a little more shallow about, like, this is kind of like a facade, which can be interesting in its own way if they play it correctly and, like, go down that character development path of, like, dealing with that, right? But, yeah.
She's basically in an unfortunate place where, like, we're in a sort of era of 100 Girlfriends where it does feel like things are a little formulaic, and it kind of weird, like I don't know, like it makes it feel like there's a chance that this potential that is there is not going to capitalize on. Yeah. Like, we're worried, like, we have legitimate worries that he might become a real Flanderize character, because, I mean, it's been a while since we had, like, I don't know, like I said, this little spot when they're in just has a lot of very formulaic.
We've got it very formulaic in the volume structure, and this is the current volume with Hasu is actually probably at its worst, where it's not only are we getting two daily life chapters, but the baby chapter as well, and then what I call a show-off chapter where it's just, here's the girlfriend dressed as something, and that's pretty much the whole chapter. Like, we had that with the...
To be fair, I wanted to defend the aquarium chapter. I would have agreed that, like, okay, there wasn't a lot there.
Yeah.
The fucking vice principal shit was amazing.
That chapter was
a crazy way to pull it all around at the end.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
That gave me, like, hope that Nakamura is still able to, like, kind of surprise me.
Yeah, that part definitely saved that chapter, where unlike something like the Gothic Lolita dress chapter, where it is just literally, here's everyone dressed up as something, or the glasses chapter, where it's like, here's everyone in glasses, and that's the whole chapter. Like, the aquarium could have easily been, here's everyone dressed up as animals, and that's pretty much your entire thing. But no, you have this whole crazy shit shenanigans going on with the vice principal, which saved that chapter. But even still, it's still technically, it's like a half show-off chapter. So this whole volume was just bad in general, in terms of
basically fluff,
and then we had to top it off. We had the potential for a real great story arc with Nano, which then just peters out like half, like and basically.
It's just poor Hasuha just got in a really bad volume.
Yeah. And like, again, like, I don't think, people on the internet are like goldfish. They only remember the last 6 seconds that you've said. I just want to remind everybody, like, we non-slobbed Nemu. Nemu was like the second most recent, and he did perfect, right? So this isn't saying like, oh no, the series is falling off. It's just, again, we're putting it out into the fucking ether. Like, please, Nakamura, less daily life chapters.
Yes.
Give the girls more time, please.
We love them. We want to see more of them.
In a focused
just like Rentaro.
All right, so I think
look at that.
Yeah, look at. So I want to. So I guess before we wrap this up, are there any adjustments we want to? Does anyone want to just climb up a little bit or go down a little bit after all this talking?
Okay.
Here's one I want to recommend. Iku above Chio.
Iku above Chio?
Yeah, I can work with that.
Yeah.
I can agree with that.
So like the only reason like Iku has it's so very recent fall off for me. Like honestly, like the baby catching the ball with the ass cheeks really fucking soured my mood. I was like, man, there was so many better.
This is your 13th reason why.
Her and Dio are they're basically like opposites in terms of like character. Like Iku started off strong for I think a lot of people, but he's been like Redmond kind of like.
Oh yeah, Iku was like easily top 3 for me for a while.
Yeah,
me too.
But then Tio was like pretty much everyone's worst.
They're going in opposite directions on the tier list, and they're high-fiving on the way.
yeah.
Oh my god, yeah, here's praying for Iku. Iku, like I said, we've said this in our review, Iku needs a chapter where she plays a goddamn sport. You know, like
or something.
Just remind me of your other character trait.
One other one I want to recommend,
Kishka above Natty. Man,
just because, as we were saying, Kishka does actually have some levels to her that we talked about, whereas Natty hasn't had anything yet.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think we had anything like that chapter where Kishka and Kusuri had that
Yeah.
minor spat with her. Like, I mean, I don't think Natty has really had any meaningful.
The closest
like,
is that driving chapter, and that was about it. And even that was barely anything.
My pushback with Natty is just, again, a lot of it is in the background as, like, I wouldn't even say headcanon. Like, we know it's real. It's just, you know, it's not mentioned a lot. But, like, this trauma with her parents and her upbringing, this clear, like, disbelief in herself that she can, like, do what she wants to do, similar to Uto, right? There's, like, a deeply sad person underneath. If you get drunk and your first thing is and start apologizing for your existence, that's there's like depth there. I really like that a lot.
Yeah,
personally.
and it is good, but also Kishka has this thing of like she has these two sides to her. She has this. She wants to be the chivalric person that people can rely on, whether she wants to or not. Because that was the other thing is being the older sibling, she was kind of thrust into this position. So that's just kind of how that molded her. But she also is protective of the family in some ways. But she also has this flip switch to where it's almost like two different characters in some kind of ways. So the fact that we can talk about like these two different sides of Kishka, whereas Ms. Natty's, all we have is like backstory that we are just piecing together. Now, once we actually get the Natty parent dealing with chapter, then sure. But I think at the time, Natty is just all kind of, it's headcanon, whereas Kishka actually does have stuff we have seen.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
True. And I do want to really praise the beach chapter with Kishka, where she was able to like just have a moment where she's like, he's my boyfriend. He's my boyfriend, and I don't need to be nervous about being myself. I was
gonna say, like, he basically had like a moment of like significant, like a dramatic character moment, basically.
And and like, has she been like uber embarrassed since then? Like, I don't. I mean,
actually, I don't remember because he used to have a thing where she's like, just kill me, please.
I
think
that's he said that.
That's an interesting thing with Kishka is like her longest time of her life, she was like, I don't want people to see this side of me. I don't want people flipping my switch in public. And now she's doing it like every other chapter on that roof.
Yeah, no, I think there's something nice there. But I mean, that was just genuinely really nice because that's what love's all about. You know what I mean? Like loving all sides, being able to totally relax, like just like not have your guard up constantly. And then this is a more recent one, but I also liked the daily life where Rentaro was in the Yamcha pit, you know, and like she comes up and she's like, oh my God, what's wrong? And he's like, this idea that Rentaro is like training out in the fucking fields to be a better boyfriend, and then she has to, you know, the most prideful one has to come out and be like, Rentaro, I know I don't say this enough, but I really do admire you. And that was a great moment.
Yeah, that's a great chapter. That was a great little segment. So yeah, that's the only reason. And then I think the only other one I'd push is just that.
Nano above Kurumi. Yeah, sure. For me personally, I wouldn't go that direction. But
I think Nano has definitely had more. I don't know.
It's character development over just a good character. I think that's what it is.
It's so tough for me to like parse between personal likability and character development because I like Kurumi more than Nano, but Nano, of course, is a more developed character.
Yeah.
So, it's like,
so that's why they can sit side by side.
Yes, yeah, that's fair.
Is there any other
I like
that anyone wants to do?
Anyone I really like on? It's sad to see Iku so low, but I mean, this is recent event shit. You know, she's not
just
been
say that like hopefully next year she just shoots right back up.
Yeah.
I will be so happy. Yeah, we got it. Please save a pic. I guess there'll be a video up, but save a picture of this, and we're gonna compare and see how people move. Yeah.
A feels a little small. How do you feel about Matsuri bumping up to A? Is that
we want to because B is really big.
Because I mean, I think
it is really big. We can look at some other people in B maybe, but like to me, Matsuri still feels like even with all your talking, I don't think she's developed.
Yeah, because A's feel like characters that could carry their own franchise if they wanted. Matsuri doesn't feel like like that yet.
I don't know. I mean, I can imagine like a slice of life festival thing where we meet a bunch of different people. Matsuri is kind of like the central pull of the story. But
let me look through other Bs. Let me look through other Bs. There's got to be someone.
Or do we want to knock someone from BBC?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's a bad thing that there's a lot in B. It's just, I mean, that's the average, you know, like there's gonna be a lot of average.
Because that's like the halfway point between characters we just don't like and then the flanderized. Like, we still like them, but they're kind of flanderized.
Yeah. Well, let's be real for a second, right? So Hahari, theoretically, on a character depth basis, could be an A, but it's Hahari. Yeah. So like, where are we going? You know what I mean?
Do we want to like make her higher in B?
He should. I don't know. I mean, it's kind of like he should count himself lucky that after everything he's done, he can still merit like B, like mid.
What about? That's the rough part, because again, like as a person, but like when I
mean, even as a character, like some of the things are just weird to see a character do. Like not even.
I can think about her so much. Like I think about her character a lot. There's so much to think about. Like I can just. There's a lot of depth there.
That's just a sign of like good writing and character development that you can think about, even if it's stuff you don't like. It's still character.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. I agree. Yeah, that's exactly what I was saying. It's like, though, like, because when I first did my tiers, it was very much based on them as people, them as girlfriends, would I date them? But if we're going more towards character development, character, interesting, fun to read, Hahari does a lot. She makes a lot of moves, right? Like, like if you're looking at that chart of like, there's a YouTuber I really like named Super Eye Patch Wolf, and he does a lot of good. And he did one about what makes a good like hero, what makes a good villain, a good main character, and he was talking about how like a good main character is one who is proactive and not reactive, right? And it's like how much do their actions change the world around them versus how much are they just reacting to shit happening already. Hahari is a changer. She's a mover.
She's a plot device on a global scale.
Yeah, exactly. She changes shit along. Like Kusuri is the same way, right? Like Kusuri is an agent of change in the story. So I mean, there's something to be said about that. But I mean, I'm okay with how it is. I don't think we have to force ourselves to move it.
Okay. And unless Rouse, you want to have any last words on anybody?
I mean, Rin supremacy, but other than that, I mean,
Yeah, and then my last couple words, Tama being in C hurts a bit, but I mean, Moonlight is correct that a lot of my love for her is in potential energy as well as headcanon. So we're gonna hope to see something in the future for her.
Yeah, like I don't mind knocking her up in the ranks, but we need something actually written on paper that's not headcanon.
Yeah, I was gonna say, should Tama be above Hasu?
The cat girl and dog girl.
I say yes, because it's hard to say. I don't know if I can say how or why, but I think just yes. Just initial reaction, yes.
Put her next to Chiyo.
But do we think Kusuri's too low, or is she kind of right? Where is she?
Because we just minorly glazed her for being a saint.
It's so hard, man. Because like I want to fucking use both likability and we should have defined our terms. Yeah. We should have defined the tier list.
I do think, this is supposed to be a character for the franchise. Like, how are they as a character in the franchise kind of list? With a sprinkling of personal bias.
Way higher. Yeah. I mean, I think if that's the case. But see, but there's definitely, there's the sprinkling of personal bias in there. Because if that's the case, Hahari would be, like, super hot. Unless your argument is that, like, you don't like what she brings, is possible.
Yeah. I think we're just going to leave it here, then.
Yeah, we're ruminating. This is what
when you start thinking about it too much, it starts falling apart.
Yeah.
Why'd you make me think? We should have just did it and sat with it.
We had to save 6 hours.
Yeah.
Wowza. Yeah, well, I remember when I wanted to make this less than 2 hours. No funny hat for me, I guess.
Unfortunate.
All right.
Maybe he'll grant
So let us know how right or wrong we are in the comments section below.
Yes, feel free to make a lot of comments, a lot of liking or even disliking, any engagement, is appreciated.
And, when you're done watching Moonlight's, 7 to 10 minute review of any given chapter, if you want to listen to two idiots talk about it for an hour and a half, head on over to our channel, which I assume will be pinned or in the description or something.
Yeah. Well, I got you guys tagged in the title.
I saw that. I appreciate it.
I'm guessing...
thank you so much.
So that's an idea, is like to do your channel's version and do like... would we date this person? What are the pros and cons of dating this character?
Yeah, let's do it.
Really get into it.
Yeah, we can really start doing some like unique tier lists with different.
We also got to do the best chapters
genres.
too.
Yes, I need to start. I'm going to amplify my read because I can always just reread again for when we do our retrospective.
Yeah, there's no limit to how much we can reread.
Exactly. Yeah, because I mean Richmond in our Discord is fucking reading every chapter like 10 times. Man. There's no limit.
All right. So,
I assume we're done recording.
We're going to end it right here. So see you guys next time.
Yep. See ya.
Where's the stop? Where's the stop button? Oh, there it is.